Hello, and welcome to Jason Cavness Experience. I'm your host, Jason Cavness. I'm also the founder and CEO of Cavness HR. At Cavness HR, we provide HR to companies with 49 or fewer people by providing a tech platform that automates HR while providing access to a dedicated HR business partner. Now, I want to welcome you to the Jason Cavness Experience Ho Chi Minh City edition. We're doing the podcast live in person from Earth VC in Ho Chi Minh City. Earth VC is on a mission to unfuck the Earth. They are doing this by supporting breakthrough scientific research, empowering outlier founders to build enduring climate businesses, and invest in high growth startups that decarbonize the world. Earth VC empowers founders who are ambitious, breakthrough, and are committed. Our guest today is Daniel Shaw. Daniel, thanks for being here today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Jason.
So,
Appreciate
Daniel,
it.
man, I've been trying to get this podcast for a while.
Yeah, since Brooklyn, when I was in Brooklyn, we thought
Yes,
we first talked.
yes.
And yeah, I definitely wanted to come out here and reset the stage. I don't know if you know, but I was here for 3 years already. But I literally landed in a country right before the lockdown. So it was a whole different world before I left. It was a whole different world when I got here. And now I've been here about another month, pretty much a month, and it's another different world.
Yeah.
So it's very fluid in Vietnam from what I can see and understand over the last few
And
years.
you were born and raised in Brooklyn?
Yeah, born and raised in Brooklyn, East Flatbush, the 90s, they call it. Uh, Grew up in that area, PS 391, basic Brooklyn stuff, stickball, skelly. We kept it Brooklyn all day. Uh, then I started venturing out and moving into the South a little bit. My parents are both from Selma, Alabama. So, the civil rights struggles and issues also took toll on it, with everything was going on down there. And my parents moved up in the early 70s to Brooklyn and we landed. We actually lived about 2 blocks from Mike Tyson,
Oh, wow.
which is a friend of mine from back in the day, still a friend of mine, but I don't get to see him as much. And then from Brooklyn, I went to John Jay College, NYU a little bit. Then I met a young lady named April Walker, and she needed an intern for a clothing brand, which was one of the early startups in the urban apparel business, as they used to call it, which is now the entire streetwear business. But April started a brand called Walkerwear alongside with Carl Kanai, Cross Colors, Maurice Malone, and then she needed an intern back then. So I just said, you know what? I'm doing this, the hell with school. I'm going to keep it moving. And she showed me the legit side of New York life. We weren't pushing packs basically anymore, and we got into the clothing business. And I remember her taking us all out to Las Vegas for a trade show called the Magic Trade Show. And when we went to that trade show, I watched her on paper make 2 million USD. The paper wasn't worth anything, but because you have to ship the orders basically. But she wrote 2 million USD, which was, it wasn't money, but it was the most money I ever seen a Black woman write in perceived currency for lack of a better term. So I was like, you know what, this is the business I want to be in. So I interned for her for a few years, and then Maurice Malone.
And how old were you? How old were you at this time?
Shit, I was probably 20,
20.
maybe
And
20.
had you had any experience with this before then?
No, I fell straight off the street.
Okay.
We hit the ground moving. I mean, I did a lot of things while I was in Brooklyn in my younger days. I had ice cream trucks, furniture stores, all types. I delivered newspapers. I remember one time I got a Mike Tyson story. Me and my brother, we were about 10 and 12. And on Rutland Road in Brooklyn, they used to have the grocery stores. And so in order to get a job packing the bags in the morning, you had to be there first. So maybe they had 6 or 7 cash registers there. And me and my brother, we would take up a cash register early in the morning. And so like Mike and a few other guys in the neighborhood, they understood what was going on. They didn't pack bags. They waited for the bag packers to come out so they could rob us. So the day was over about 3 o'clock. We see Mike Tyson across the street. Still, this is young Mike Tyson. He's still a kid. It's like baby pictures, but he still looks like Mike Tyson. So you don't want to play with a kid like that. And he seen us across the street, and he come. And I told my brother, I said, "You run this way, I'm gonna run this way, and send him this way." My little brother had the money, so we ended up running away, and we got away from Mike that day. But every time I hear Mike talk about stories about Brooklyn, I always think about Rutland Roads. Like that's where they used to get their early morning money from, you know.
So you got this internship opportunity. Did you realize quickly, like within a few days or a few months, that man, this is my passion.
Oh,
This
that
is
was it.
like this is gonna be my life's work.
I mean, it was a portal into understanding one, business, and two, what the people want. You know, this was fashion. This was early fashion when people didn't even understand what that really meant. You know, as a young Black man back then, we came from the custom clothes era where we would go to tailors and have our shark skins and pinstripes put in, like, you know, we permanent creases. We did all of that, but we didn't know we were actually tailoring. We used to take jeans and we take the back pockets and put leather on it just to enhance the jeans. And like I said, when April took it to the next level, it just blew my high. On top of that, we went to the trade show and we saw it was like a concert. We would see like all of the top rappers, artists, movie stars, celebrities. And these were the early days. They were walking around, you know, persona non grata, like they didn't care. And I was like, okay, to be in an environment like this where no one's fanning out and everyone's here to make money, it's like, okay, this is where I want to be. So I decided, I think in 97, 98, to start my first company. It was a company called Pure Players. And we went to the trade show, and lo and behold, we started making really good money on paper. And I went out and I found my first investor, but I didn't know all the other stuff. Basically, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and understanding your business. So I built in 18 months, I built a $10 million in sales company. And when I got to the 24th month, I was actually looking for real money. And the guy that I was partnered up with at the time, he basically said, "I'll give you a job and a chain." And with that said, I basically looked at it and said, you know what? If I started one company, I can do another. So I opened up another brand called 1020 Blues, and we did all of these advertising campaigns with guys like Naughty by Nature and Public Enemy, Wu-Tang Clan, to name a few. We seeded celebrities on East Coast and West, and that brand pretty much took off. And then came the era of the celebrity-driven brands. So, you know, I had to pivot when I saw that, and I basically said, you know what? The only thing that the urban market isn't doing right now is footwear. Mm-hmm. So why is that so hard? You know, shoe looks like a shoe is a shoe until you get into the nuances of it. So I was lucky enough to be working with a company called Fubu, Damon John and those guys over there. And they were building product left and right for some of their brands. They had brand extensions like Coogee, Willie Esco, had a lot of different brand extensions. And they would let me consult with them on trends and what's going on in the market. And they were cool enough to place me with their licensing company who produced all of their footwear. And it was the most incredible lesson I ever got in my life to date, because I didn't understand, you know, a shoe from anything else. But just being under this company's tutelage, they showed me one, the way to make a proper shoe, and two, the business of shoes, not the shoe business. So the business of shoes is way different than the shoe business, you know. And you know, for example, we would have the designers in the room, and the designers would have to come up with the greatest shoe on earth every week. And the manager of the company, he would come in and say, okay, this is great. We got gold zippers on it. We got a platinum tongue. We got, you know, all type of stuff. It's electronic before it's electronic. Now make it for $10. So that's where, to me, that's where the education came in, because you had to figure out the business. Anybody can make a great shoe with a whole bunch of disposable money, but make it for $10 so it can go in the store for a reasonable price. And that was the question that I was always chasing in this particular business right here. So I started going to Asia with him, and this is back in the days before the handover. We would go to Busan, Korea, Apgujeong, Itaewon. We'd be all over Korea, Indonesia, and
Hey, so not to interrupt you, I was in the army. I retired from the army. I was in there for 25 years. Me and my family were in Soka for 3 years. We actually lived like a block from Itaewon.
Oh, okay.
So I know Itaewon very well.
I used to live in the Hyatt Hotel.
Okay, so you know where the Hyatt is, and then you know the gate 3 to the military base. We live right in the middle of there.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, live right there.
A safe place.
Yeah, safe place. Yeah, I wish you go Hyatt a lot of times.
Oh yeah, I used to be in JJ Mahoney's every night.
Yes. Good times. Good times.
That was the good time.
Yeah.
You know, and then when the market changed in Korea and China opened up, we were actually in Hong Kong for the handover. So we were some of the first guys to start venturing into mainland and building shoes out. So I would come back and forth to China back then. I think I was in my early 30s, and it was incredible. I literally lived in China before I came here for 8 years, because that was to me, that was the holy grail. It's like the medical school for shoe guys. You know what I mean? Like, because all of my family and friends just go, why are you living out there? Like, they got Starbucks, they have buildings, like,
beds. Yeah. Isn't it amazing? Like when people say like you're going to live in Vietnam or visit, no other country, it could be any country in the world. What you go there for? Like they have electricity. They have electricity. They have internet.
To be honest, don't tell nobody. Because it's so nice.
That's true.
I don't want them to spoil it.
Yeah, that's true too.
I've been I tell everybody, like, Vietnam specifically, this is the end all be all for me.
Yeah.
Because I lived in Xinjiang in China for 8 years. And it was very blinders on, put your head down, do your work, go home, repeat, you know. And it wasn't for lack of a better word, the quality of life that I was looking for. And the discipline was there, which is dope, you know. And if you're in the creative business, you know you need as much discipline as possible to move your craft forward. So I learned a lot with the discipline. But then, you know, unfortunately, when COVID hit, I said, you know what? Let me give this a break for a second. And I end up in Thailand for I'd say about a month, but I was pulling my hair out because there's no industry.
Yeah.
You know, so I said, okay, what's the
I mean, Thailand does have industry, but we won't talk about the industry here, right?
Yeah, that's not, yeah, okay. At 57, I'm good with that industry at this point. So in terms of actually working, I needed a place to build craft. And, you know, with China came the convenience of one-stop shopping. So if I wanted footwear, I literally go to the footwear province, go to 2 or 3 buildings, and every component of shoe that I ever needed is in one building. When I got here, I realized that this entire country is spread out, and they didn't put the mechanics together yet to do the automation style of China, even though they still have the technical wherewithal to build product. They built some really dope product, but the efficiency when I first got here, I didn't see it. And when I, you know, just like most of the people who show up, I ended up in D1, then D4. I lived in the Gold View. And then after D4, I'm a little D7. And then I had enough with all of the Ds, and I moved to Tung and Ben Yoon. And I immersed myself in the business there, which basically meant if you need something from the shoe business, go find it. So I spent the better part. This is all during COVID, which was even more incredible that, You know, as we're going up in directives, I'm still out in the middle of Ben Yun, Ton Bin, looking for factories that may or may not be open. So, you know, you can imagine as a black man running through Ton Bin,
And do you speak the language?
no,
No. Okay.
not at all.
Okay.
I'm working on that
Do you have like
part.
a translator go with you
Yeah,
everywhere?
yeah. I got a nice staff. Like
Okay.
my crew, my team, they really back me up. And, you know, over the first 3 years of me being here, we were in rooms this size basically for 10 hours just learning each other and understanding, you know, what I'm trying to translate to the factories based on all of us, you know, uh, they're in the short term, they're smarter than me. They're younger, they're faster, they're more creative than me. I just know where to sell it at.
So let me ask this real fast. Somebody said this the other day on my podcast. I'll get your opinion. So this guy, he was telling me, in his opinion, that the Vietnamese females are like so super smart. Like the Vietnam females are head and above, like just crushing it here.
Don't tell anybody
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah.
This place is incredible because it's an art-driven culture. And when it's an art-driven culture, you get to see the best of creatives. Now, the business side, I'm not too keen on a lot of it. Like I've heard good, bad, and ugly out here, and I've experienced good, bad, and ugly. But the creative side, you give them the task, they complete the task, and that's it. And it's it's more than fair. If I show you what I've spent in the last 3 years based on what I spent in the US for the same type of services, it's night and day. You know, so that's another reason why I decided this is the place to be, because they're not running out of art, they're running to it, you know, and it's a constant evolution of art and the form. And if you just sit and watch, you know, Vietnam as a culture has as much soul as anybody in Brooklyn, Harlem, you know, or anywhere else on the planet, LA, because they have their own style based on, you know, the things they went through and the things that they endured throughout the years. So being here, you know, in walking around, literally, I don't take the grabs in Ton Bin. I walk street to street. I know that sounds crazy, but I love walking
I'm
around.
with you. I've been there for 60 days. I've done more walking the past 60 days than probably the last 3 or 4 years,
Yeah,
easily.
because it's in every corner, every alley, every
There's something
street
to
you've
be,
been,
yeah,
there's
something to
something
the
else to see.
experience.
It's a whole new city every block you go. So you'll never run out of things to see. And, you know, in Vietnam, if you like your senses heightened on a constant basis, just go outside.
Yeah.
You know, like one of the
And it
guys,
don't matter what time of the day it is. It'll be 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, doesn't matter.
I was about to
Does not
allude to that.
matter.
One of my guys that works for me, I saw him. I was going out for a quick bite at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I saw him coming back. I said, "Bro, why aren't you asleep?" He's like, they're doing karaoke in my house." And he explained it to me very simply. He's like, "Yo, it's 3 generations in the crib. When they doing karaoke and I want to chill, I gotta leave." So it made more sense that, you know, Vietnam really taught me humanity, you know, coming from, I'm not just gonna say New York, like we a whole different type of fucked up, but it taught me humanity the way America should have did it, you know. And I saw during COVID people bartering as opposed to using money. Money had no value at a certain point out here. They was exchanging tomatoes for potatoes. And I was like, that's super dope. And it was something I've never seen in 57 years of being alive. People just disregarding money and saying, yo, you know what? You need this, you need that, let's go. And it warmed my heart. That's one of the reasons why I came back. You know, it's so dope out here for that.
Yeah, one people don't realize, and I don't know how to explain it to people, like the level of like the standard living as far as not money stuff, as far as standard like you'll go somewhere, a cafe culture, like people take time to have a coffee, talk to each other, right? And like it's so safe here, right? I've been places here, like if I'm in the States, oh man, I feel for my life, right? But here you could be like in an alley at 3 in the morning, and some gangsters be right there, and you
They
like,
can help you out.
yeah, hey, what's up, dude? Hey, how you doing? Like, yeah,
Out.
I've never felt so safe in my life.
Mike, I always reference Mike because he's one of the greatest thinkers that I've ever seen. And he said, in order to be so peaceful, you know how violent you had to be. And to watch a country that literally beat the hell out of 3 different continents and then told them, hey, it's all good. Just chill out when you get here.
You know what? That's one thing too, right? So I don't think Vietnam gets enough credit for like beating the French and Americans, right? Two quote unquote superpower. I don't think
And Chinese.
in
It was
Chinese,
like,
yeah. So I don't think enough credit
give
for
them their
that.
credit.
And like me, if it was me, I was Vietnamese. Fuck you, America. Fuck you, France. I'll be trying to scam everyone because that's how I am, right? But you come here to Vietnam, like, hello, it's almost like they're more friendly to Americans, on purpose to
Well,
other people, right?
listen, you gotta, everyone knows the rules.
Mhm.
And I think that over 4 decades of Vietnam instilling the rules, they have the right to smile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you see, it's a very stoic culture when you look at it. But at the same time, you're like, yo, y'all been through so much and you still smile.
Yeah.
And I've seen, especially, when you're going out to like Benyun and Coochie, and then that's when you're getting out to the real, I call that the Brooklyn. When you're
Yeah.
getting out there, it's like fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're good until they're not.
Yeah.
And I'm good with that culture.
Mhm.
Like I come from that.
Mhm.
I can count 30 of my friends have been murdered and
Yeah.
killed and from Brooklyn over the past, my lifetime. And when you see it and you're still able to smile and just
Yeah.
be, you gotta applaud that.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I go, they're the closest I've ever felt to being amongst my own people.
Yeah. They definitely have life figured out, so to speak, right?
Yeah, they have quality of life figured out and they understand that it ain't like, everyone talks about the prices out here and you can get a house for 400, $500 and blah, blah, blah. It's not about that. It's about what you're doing with it. Space is just space, and I've seen people be happy and comfortable on a hammock.
Yeah.
There's a lady outside that sells me a cafe soda every morning, and I'm in competition with her with who gets up the earliest in the morning. Because I see this lady hour in, I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm outside, I go take my jog. She gives me the cafe soda, she takes her card inside, and she's off to the next job or business. Let's not even call it jobs. They create businesses, they create
Yeah.
wealth.
That's one thing is someone seeing how many small businesses are here, right?
Because if you need a salary, the only thing that you're going to gain is some money, and anything you can buy with money is cheap. But if somebody's teaching you the game, and from a coffee cart to the lady who's moving fruit, if you do all of those things, you can do anything.
Yeah.
That's the difference between having a job and creating businesses. Like a job, like you couldn't offer me a job right now. I've been offered jobs.
Yeah.
It's stupid. What you need to do is create, I have a lot of teacher friends and we have a lot of conversations about this, yo, D, what do I do? What do I do? I say, yo, go to the store and go buy a box of pencils and send those pencils back to your country and sell those pencils for triple the money you bought them for. Start somewhere. But don't come and bitch and moan about the schools because they holding your check, they won't give you your bill. That sounds like a whole bunch of your fucking problem. Sorry.
You can see it.
Oh, okay. It just sounds like a whole bunch of like cop-outs where how much easier do you want it? You know what I mean? Like we like it hard. It should be hard. And you don't get to come to a country and all of a sudden let your hair down and chill. Get to work. Like okay, I seen another podcast about the quality of teachers and the new rules coming around for the teachers and how they have to take 160 hours or so of courses to be certified. There's nothing wrong with that because you're fucking these kids up otherwise. Like every kid I ever seen in Tumbin goes, hello, how are you? Nice to meet you. Fine. Hi, I'm fine on you. Like, yo, why y'all did that? And no one knows that I'm not saying it's proper or improper, but if we're going to teach universal language, don't laugh at that. Y'all did that. Now we're going to continue that trajectory, or we're not going to continue that. Don't get mad at that. So when I look at people, with that cup half empty mentality, you came here to be a teacher, go teach somewhere else if you really that pissed off. You can't hack it, you know. So that's my take on that.
Master this. So like, obviously Vietnam's a communist country, right? Like I came here the first time in September 2023. Before I came here, my friends finally convinced me to come. In my mind, I was being ignorant, right? In my mind, I like Vietnam, like it must be like Soviet Union 1950s, bureaucratic, no creativity, no business. But man, it's so completely opposite here, right? It's almost like small business haven here,
Well,
entrepreneur haven. Can you talk about that some?
a little bit. First, you take the word communism,
Mm.
define it. Now you come out here, you see everything is free. I'm more free here than I am in America.
I agree with
I
you.
don't got to worry about police shooting me. I ain't got to worry about somebody robbing me. I ain't got to worry. I don't have to worry here. I just got to worry about maintaining and growing and scaling what I started here. And you get more supporters than you get detractors here. You know, on the West, we try to impose too many of our values on other people instead of practicing the art of minding our fucking business. And that's where we get, that's where the obstacle comes in. And people, oh, I didn't know this was it. Nothing's communist until you make it. Now fuck up and watch what they do. You know what I mean? Like they tell you to do something, just do it,
Yeah.
because more than likely it's for your benefit. The only reason that you're adverse to it is because you're from the West and ain't nobody going to tell me what to do. Shut the fuck up with
Yeah.
that. So that would be my take on what they call so-called
Okay.
communism.
Then talk about this. Like people in the States still say, "Oh, I'm hustling, I'm grinding." Like, no, you're not. You don't know. You know what hustling is in come to Vietnam. These jokers here around they put the capital H in hustle.
Any was it Joe Rogan or one of those guys? He was talking about it, or Dana White. He said this generation right now.
I remember that clip. I saw that
You
clip.
remember
I
that
saw that
clip?
clip. Yeah, I saw
if
that clip.
if the few people who, because this generation for the most part is fucked,
Yeah,
but if the few people that buckle down and take a look at it, there could be 10 Jeff Bezos out here. There
yeah,
could be a Jeff Bezos every year. There
yeah.
could be a new Steve Madden tomorrow. And that's my main reason for staying in this country, is because in China, one, the minimums for the small businesses that I was building, they were too high. China is like, look, you got to buy 12,000 one color, one style, and mediums. Like, dude, if I sell 9,000, I got to eat the rest. I'm still fucked.
Mhm.
So this side of the game, the minimums are low, but the work you have to put in. You got to go to the shoelace guy. You got to go to the outsole factory, introduce him to this. So you got to put together your own logistics, your own puzzle, but you enjoy it, because if that's the game, that's the game. So, going to that point, people talking about, it's only as hard as you make it.
Yeah.
If I can sum that up, it's
Mhm.
only as hard as you make it. And if you really about this business and about this life, shout out to the Shoe Dogs, because they're a crew out here, and they comprise of most of the top shoe companies in the world.
Mhm.
And a lot of those guys lived over in China, and now they jumped the needle and they're over here. And I watch these guys build, and I'm seeing between AI and what they do, what they've been getting comfortable doing. And I'm not throwing anybody under the bus per se, but y'all better step your shit up, because AI is taking your jobs. Those cushy 150, $200,000 a year jobs to go out and take a look at a shoot and go to the bar and drink for 8 hours, them shits are going.
Yeah.
And now you have to be competitive and have a use in the market in order to compete. So AI is not going to take your job. The person who knows how to work that shit is going to take your
Man, that's
job.
what people don't get. You get right. They don't get that.
A 9-year-old taught me AI.
Mhm.
Maybe a 12-year-old
Mhm.
taught me AI. But guess what I did? I saw what it
Mhm.
was and I learned it.
Mhm.
And now I understand how I can be as productive with my staff, because my staff ain't going anywhere.
Mhm.
They cool. They understand what's going on, and
Mhm.
they're growing with the plays. Our job is to get to the end result for any of our customers and our brands as fast as possible. Yesterday, so Like I'm looking at the way things were, and like if you look at the top presidents and prime ministers and whatever you call these guys, this is the last generation of the old guys. Everybody coming in now was born in the internet.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like me, I can put my phone down, I turn the computers off, I will not miss a beat. I'm 57. But the young generation, they were born in Facebook.
Mhm.
So when I say that, meaning when I was born, it took 6 months for my family to see my baby pictures
Mhm.
because they had to mail them all over the world. And while they cutting the cord, that kid is in the internet. So them being immersed in the internet, the real world is where they're suffering because they have no people skills. But the internet, they have 10 million friends that
Yep.
making money, they're
Yep.
making millions in
Across
it.
the world.
So I'm looking at that part and saying, okay, how do I go more into the internet and jump into the web and shake loose the people part? Because I'm on the other side of the coin. You know what I mean? I got more behind me than I got in front of me. So that's the learning curve. And so many people are adverse to that curve. Like, I don't want to use this. Go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead. You'll be stuck.
Yeah. Less competition for me.
Exactly. I'll take your money. And, I get customers, every day because now technology is fortune, depending on how you look at it, is in everything now. So he wants to put smart tech inside of a shoe. This guy wants to put a hiking boot that can tell you how many steps you took up and down, and it goes to your watch and turns on the hot pot and does all of this shit. So, but they're all of the tech guys from Palo Alto and all of those places are now trying to get in the apparel game. So now either you have a whole nother 20 years of learning, or you got to find a guy like me that can take your little device and put it inside of my shoe. And those are the partnerships that are starting to show up now. I'm literally getting a company a week talking about, can you make it sustainable? Is it CFO? Is it this, that? Do you have the paperwork? It's like, guys, how can you not have plastic in anything?
Mhm.
Y'all did that. Now, can we make this plastic turn into something else after we make it? Yeah, let's keep reusing it. Let's play with tech and earth and put it all together in one big pot and try to fix this shit.
Have you ever thought about this as far as tech? Do you realize that we've gone from Pong to AI in like less than 50 years?
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy, right?
Well, even
It's
before,
insanity.
okay, put it like this. My mother used to open the window, and whoever she saw walking down the street, she'd say, "Hey, tell Junior I said, come up the block."
Mhm.
That message beat her voice around the corner.
Mhm.
That was what we started
Yeah.
with. So just to see, you got mail,
Yep.
and playing around on a device for 15 hours that did nothing. AOL and the Microsoft, we free trial every day. Okay,
Exactly, right?
huh?
Yeah, I know, right?
Remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
I went through all of those stages, and Microsoft and this one, and those companies that I forgot the name of that Mind something, but it was like a giant multi-million dollar company for a week. And then AOL took over, and this is how guys like
Yeah,
what's the basketball guy? Mark Cuban.
yeah.
They made their money when
Yeah.
that was the
The
original
the Wild
gold
Wild
rush.
West of it, right?
They would make anybody that came up with a dumbass idea
Mhm.
automatically got a couple $1 million. The
Mhm.
market is not even saturated yet because it keeps evolving. And instead of people growing, they drop off and say, "Oh, I had enough.
Yeah.
I had enough." Because the kid, I watched the kid show me an app called Canva. And Canva was when I had Photoshop. I'm talking about Photoshop, Adobe One. I don't even think they had names all the way up to when they said CS. I got off there. I was 17. But it would take me 3 hours to do what Canva does in 10 seconds now. And that's when I looked and said, "Ooh, you only have two things left in life, time or money. Which one you spending?" So now I spent my money to buy time. You dig what I'm saying? And
Exactly.
and I'll take that kid over any
Easily.
graphic
Easily.
design genius
I
guy.
mean, yeah, I use Canva all the time. Like, why pay a graphic designer whatever the cost is? You pay like $20 a month for Canva.
In New York, I was paying $4,000 to get the same thing that I'm paying a team significantly lower but great price. I treat everybody fairly according to what their skill set is. But I even tell them, I said, guys, you see what I just did on Canva and photo room. You see what I did on my phone? This used to take me 5 hours.
Yeah.
Y'all got to stay sharp
Yeah.
because I might not have as much patience. You dig what I'm saying? And that's a real
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I might
Yeah.
not have
Yeah.
patience next week
Yeah.
because this new app can feed
Yeah.
tonnage of
And
information.
my thing is, Susan, this might be negative to say, but my thing is like, if I figure this shit out and you can't, like,
And I'm dumb.
what do I need you for?
No, it's not what you need them for. I got to find another use for
Yeah.
you because I'm a complete idiot. But
Yeah.
if I can figure this out in less than an hour sitting on the toilet,
Yeah.
y'all are fucked.
Yes.
You dig what I'm
I have
saying?
the same mentality. I
And
always
it's
had
a
the same
real
mentality.
thing. So, like, even in just the last 2 years, in the last year of AI existing, so we had, I don't know how many incarnations of open AI has it. Is 4.0 now?
It's like on 0.1 now. It's like, yeah.
Whatever it is, I seen it from day one.
Mhm.
And from day one, when they couldn't feed words into the algorithm because only a few people downloaded it, up until they started broadcasting it on guys like Stephen Colbert and letting everybody know
Yeah.
this is the thing. Now everyone fed it enough information that you don't get six fingers on a
Yeah.
picture anymore. You don't get,
Yeah.
a half
It's
an
scary,
outro.
scary good.
It's actually doing what that Apple Intelligence. You don't have to. You can just talk about stuff like this. When I walk out of here, I have 90 podcasts
Yeah.
in one of those phones because for some reason it's picking up the waves. And however that magic or voodoo or whatever the hell you want to call it, it's working.
Yeah.
Go towards it. There's no reason why we can't all be in space if we want.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm looking at. Like I was surprised when I saw the subway out here this year. Like one is finally open.
Yeah. So one line after 10 years and
But
10 billions of
it's
dollars.
dope because I was wondering why they didn't have the entire subway.
I know, right?
I was in the Coochie tunnels and I was like, yo, you can make subways. You
You make tunnels. What's going on? With a pick and axle, whatever you use, a shovel,
handle this. Like, yeah, they should have had the New York City subway system in here. Like,
I know, right?
And it's crazy because they're doing it now.
Yeah.
So when I look at here, I'm always enthused about Vietnam. Every morning I wake up simply because there's always going to be something to do every morning. And when you get to a certain place in life, you either want to stay sharp. You know what I'm saying? You want to stay sharp. You need to stay sharp. You work out every day, eat the right foods, and you get out there and keep looking. Or you fall into okay, I got enough money and I got enough of this and I got enough of that you just fade away into the life out here. And I've seen, I'd say 50% of both sides. Like, I don't live in Taoyuan for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's y'all doing too much out here.
Yeah, I live here now. If I come again, I wouldn't live here.
No, it's no point. Like, I don't want to move into Park Slope, Brooklyn. Like, listen, I like being around the right people as opposed to the white people. So the right people are white, black, old, young, tall, short, gay, straight, whatever. Just being around a whole bunch of people for no ass reason, you're getting lazy. Go and you're anti-culture. If you really about this culture, fuck D1 and all that bullshit. Go hang out where the people hang out by yourself and really immerse yourself. Like, I see all these podcasters walking around. It was another podcast. I ain't gonna throw them under the bus, but bro pulls up on me. I'm sitting in D1 having a taco, right? And he sits down and he puts the camera right on me. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? I said, yo, I'm doing a podcast. I said, well, first you should just ask me if you're just gonna start filming. And second, are you? No, I'm not filming you. Just your voice. And that ain't the point, bro. But all right, what's your point? What you want to know? So what do you think about Donald Trump? I don't. The fuck, I'm in Vietnam. Like, why would I be thinking about Donald Trump? Oh, what part of Africa you from? What part of Russia you from? But I could see he's from Ohio because he got some Ohio tats on him. So I said, since you just want to make blanket statements about people, what are you doing with this thing? I'm talking about, what's life like? I said, have you really been in Vietnam, or are you just running around this neighborhood with the podcast to score girls? I was talking and I'm trying to do this. All right, listen, let's go to the Trump question. I'm from New York. The only problem with Donald Trump is anybody outside of New York does not understand that man. A New Yorker shouldn't be the president of shit because we are only really, we care about New York. The fuck's going on in Utah that I care about? South Dakota, North Carolina. Why the fuck do I care? And you should never transfer that into being the president of a United States. There's 50 places that you got to take care of. But we don't think that way. We only think about what's good for New York. So is he slightly racist? Who the fuck ain't? He just says it on a bigger platform and a bigger stage than everyone else. So if you asking the Donald Trump hung out with Shabba Ranks, how the fuck could I be mad at him? You know what I mean? He was Mike Tyson's manager. How could I be mad? I know who he's talking to and why he's talking to them and how he's talking to them. When I was 7 years old, he put a roof on my public school because the mayor didn't. You dig what I'm saying? That's the shit I remember.
It is crazy to me how like before he got into politics, he was like he was all with like Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, like almost integrated the black community, and then like snap your fingers, he's a racist.
Well, he
I never
still
understood that.
is in the black community. We just choose to be sheep in the shit and not look at the reality of what's going on.
And what kills me too, like he was president, he gave more funding to HBCUs in the history of ever.
Listen,
And then Biden comes and cuts it in half.
I don't do the politics back and forth. I was just referencing Trump. Like, I don't give a fuck about either one of them. And none of that shit affected me one way or the other. Now I bought my own plane tickets. You dig what I'm saying? I built my own business. My point being is that a lot of people follow the masses when they don't have to. When you look at the facts and you go, okay, why? Look at when somebody talks about somebody, I look at them and say, that says a lot about you because you didn't form your own opinion. You just told me what somebody else says, so you fuck off. You dig what I'm saying? And when you're talking about guys like Trump, like you said, Jesse Jackson, fuck Jesse Jackson did for me in the last 20 years. Al Sharpton did for me. I miss fat Al Sharpton. Let's talk there. You dig what I'm saying? Like I'm on it like that. Like let's call it what it is this year. Like it's 2025. So I miss Fat Al because Fat Al at least had a point of view. Skinny Al is bought and paid for. Let him do his thing over there.
Yeah.
And in order for we're gonna, we all over the board a little bit, but in order for culture, and I'm specifically saying Black American culture, in order for us to scale, in order for us to grow, we have to stop trying to love something that ain't loved you since it existed. So if you look at every other culture that ran through America, Irish, Italian, and so on and so forth, they only had growth periods. Everyone has struggle periods, Jewish culture, everybody, they all had struggle periods, but they struggled their way up. We're the only ones that are perpetually in the same cycle. I look at YouTube a lot, and I could take a YouTube Channel 7 newscast from 1984 and just play the audio, and the shit sound like it happened yesterday. So if no one's progressing for you or with you, find another place that loves you. You dig? And that's one of the reasons why being overseas is way more lucrative and important. Like, here's one thing that we got to stop. A couple of my friends, and I'm talking again, I'm not the king of black people. I'm specifically talking about Black Americans. Yo, we're gonna come out there and meet some girls, and we're gonna, no, we not. Because I'm not a passport bro. And for the last 30 years, I've been traveling back and forth to Asia about business. So don't chump me off by saying I came out here as a walking dick. That's easy to do. But then what you gonna do the 15 minutes after you blow off? You still got 23 hours left. What you gonna do now? So if we can get past that, that's all they look at us, and that's all how they look at us. And if we get past that, we're able to compete on a bigger stage with better people, as opposed to someone, if you look at culture, everything in culture, from the music to the fashion to the movies, For some odd reason, most of that shit is black. You debate me on it. At any sport that's worth watching, anything that's worth doing, and I'm not saying that we can't all get along, but god damn, I mean, we made the peanut. You dig what I'm saying? Like we made the peanut. So we should have credit for the stuff we doing. You know, Virgil pulled Off-White off, but then he died. But then Off-White exists as a 200, $300 million going concern. We got networks going. Where's the yo, we've been doing this more than you. You know, like guys like Kanye. Let's take him for instance. Kanye West, genius asshole. And I'm just gonna heighten the asshole part because when I watched millions of his podcasts, hundreds of his podcasts, and I always hear, I went to the Medici family and I spent 20 million on this, and I spent 10 million on that, and I spent 15 million on that. And I said, you either got a fucked up accountant or you lying. Simply because if you really Kanye West like you was, not this dude running around bugging out, if you were him and you took the lessons that you knew you had, and when I watched his Netflix documentary, it gave me a different spin on him. You would have took $1 million, went to FIT, Parsons, or any one of those fashion schools, got the top 10 guys out of there and gave them all a job of a lifetime. Then you'd have took another $1 million and got them the houses of a lifetime on a fucking island somewhere with all of the facilities they need to create and do. And then you go out there and you go get a factory in Asia somewhere where guys like me have been out here for years. You just don't look at us because we don't dribble basketballs. We don't rap. We make fucking shoes and apparel for the world. The guy that made the Super Soaker is a billionaire. Nobody knows him. You know why? He stays low. He's just about his business. So my point being is, and the reason why I say you're a liar is because you haven't even spent 10 million yet. You only spent 3. And you can go online because you're Kanye West. Show your new shoe, take pre-orders for the $250 you're talking about. And I guarantee you get 1 million orders or $1 million, one or the other. Fill them. Fill the order. So now you keep talking and beefing with guys like Adidas and all of these dudes. It's because you kept looking for the white people instead of the right people. All you had to do was set it up. But you disregarded 30 years of not only just the right people building businesses, whether they're doing it through other companies on it, you needed someone to carry you. So now when you did the Louis sneaker or the Nike combination, that's you, not Kanye. You're an extension of them. You think they're gonna let you take over their brand? No, they're gonna give you enough money to fail. As Michael Jordan with Brand Jordan, they gave him enough money to fail. They highlight the fact that he makes $95 million a year. But guess what? That's a 10% licensing fee from what Nike makes. Let's cut the bullshit. So now you amortize those numbers and see when I be at your office looking for my real bread or digging for my own gold. So when I talk about us, we have so many creative ideas going on and so many scalable products that we come up with, and we create businesses for jobs, which sucks. Why am I going to create a business to have a job? I'm gonna create a business to scale it, not go and go, hey, you want to be my partner just so you can fuck me over and I work here and run around with the proverbial gold chain with my logo on it? Like, cut the bullshit.
So let me ask you this, right? And I could be wrong, right? So I don't think most Americans, like in hip hop culture in America, realize how big hip hop is in Asia, right? Or do you
Well,
think you realize it?
no, we realize it's the whole culture. So take a guy like Cameron, him and Mace, right? They scaled their rap business from being in 2 different rap groups, different sides of Brooklyn, medium to platinum albums, right? But that's now 20 years removed with just that part. But the The way they're moving now, they moved into the podcast space and created an ecosystem within just the podcast space that creates revenue from the podcast, revenue from the merchandise stream, revenue from ads, so on and so forth. So for the people who got it early, what you're seeing now is the cream of the crop rising to the top after 20 years of complete struggle. So, you know, all that glitters wasn't gold. When you saw Jay-Z with flossing back in the days with the chains on, he still went back to Brooklyn to an apartment on State Street. Now that got him the mansions and the residuals of putting the work in and holding on to the asset. We were so quick to throw it away to catch $10 million that we didn't realize you can get $10 million from anywhere. You just got to learn the art of waiting.
Hey, so real quick, can you give us your top 5 hip hop people, artists, based on whatever your top 5 is, and I'll give you mine.
Biggie, Jay-Z, Rakim, Tupac, not in this particular order, and that last one is a good spot. Oh, I'm gonna have to say KRS-One.
KRS-One.
Yeah, that's my top 5.
Yeah, so mine is and of course it'll probably change tomorrow. Right now it'd be Chuck D, LL Cool J, Ice Cube, Eminem, and Scarface.
Give me your why on Eminem.
I mean, just based on the number of stuff he sells, the support he has, like, you know.
Yeah, we didn't sell records back then.
Okay.
Is it because of his flow? Because he is nice.
Yeah, his flow, and one thing I think a lot of rappers, why they feel they try to talk about stuff not in the community, right? He talked about his life, right? Like,
yes,
like that one thing his song, he says, 2 trailer park girls going outside. That's actually talking about 2 prostitutes trying to sell pussy, right?
Yeah,
and most people don't get that, right?
Yeah,
it's about Vicodin and his mom. I just think he was authentic, right?
Yes, well, I think that showed through, and that's why, like, Eminem used to be in my hood hanging with is a crew called the Lowlifes. The shout out to Thurston Howell III. And these were super underground. And one of his first songs, I still remember, whose arm is this? I must have bit it off at the pharmacist. And he just went on. And when I heard that with Thirst back then, he wasn't full Eminem.
Yeah.
And that caught on early. But then, you know, when he became M, he was the most accepted. He took the white boy rap culture to the stratosphere.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? Because most of the guys back then were posing until further notice.
Yeah, exactly.
Those were acts.
Yeah.
And those acts transform into real guys. So, like, I'm not saying Vanilla Ice ain't gangster now, but you telling me Vanilla Ice was gangster then? No. Third Base was cool, but Pete Nice wasn't him. Pete Nice came from a very good family.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? Like, you wasn't telling me you was out banging it because I never seen you. Eminem now, he was walking around with those such said people.
Yeah.
You know, so I give him that type of credit that he's in the mix.
Yeah. Thinking like about him too, like he respects the culture so much, right? He respects the culture. And plus you got Rakim, what's his name? Rakim, Daddy, Big Daddy, Kane, Cool J, all these like legendary hip hop artists from the beginning, like, to give him respect, right? I think it says something too, you know.
Well, he came in and paid homage immediately to what counts. You know, when you look at guys who built Brooklyn, like Buckshot Shorty and Queens, Tribe Called Quest, and you know, Long Island is Rakim, even though it was Brooklyn, Big Daddy.
Oh, and what about a man? Remember that group called Gangstar?
Of course.
What's that dude's name? Oh man, I love that dude.
I mean,
but he's never on England's top 5, probably no top 10. But man, he's so fucking dope.
See, that's why having a top 5 in hip hop is hard. Well, it's not hard. It should not be said, because before rap was condensed down into this monochrome of what it is, rap ran the spectrum. And there was only one Biggie, there was only one Bismarcky, there was only one Big Daddy Kane. And if you emulated any of those, 99% of the culture just threw you away, because we have that already. You know, so you had to battle for your spot in hip hop. And when you got your spot, not only did you had to battle, it was a gladiator thing where you had to maintain. So Before, we used to have this show called Video Music Box with Ralph McDaniels, right? And every Thursdays and Saturdays, we go to the Palladium or we'd be at one of the clubs in New York. And guess who was on the stage every Thursday and Saturday like they just got there? KRS-One, Red Alert. And they gave you a show every week. And every up and coming rapper and wannabe rapper, they literally gave them the mic and said, do your thing. Because if you were wrong, you literally had to leave the building. So that was the essence of hip hop. And what we're looking at now is called rap because they condensed it down to something that just makes money and it has no value anymore. It has no intrinsic value. You know, when I learned that Calvin Klein wasn't no friend of mine, I don't need nobody name on my behind. That was Run
Yeah,
DMC. I got that from.
yeah.
You
Run
dig what
DMC,
I'm
yeah.
saying? So when you look at that and you go, okay, what did they teach me in school
Mhm.
versus what did they teach me from listening? Hooked on Phonics got us. The
Yeah.
music creates the learning. And the more you listen, you just got to listen to something 6 times for it to
I
stick
do
in your
remember this.
mind.
Remember that group Houdini that had a song Escape?
Yeah.
And the one verse like basically said like your job's fucking you over. Take a sick day, find another one.
Yeah.
Fucking great advice.
Because it was trying to tell you that, you know, we were programmed by our parents. So our parents say, hey, go to school, get a good job, raise a family. None of that shit was happening. And even while we were trying to achieve that, here we go, young Black American. I had to worry about the police. I had to worry about the winos. This is how far back I go. I'm going to the 70s. I had to worry about the winos, the police, the racists, the food, the atmosphere. I had to worry about everything. Then I had to go to school. So now I'm in 6th grade. I got a half a dozen sisters and brothers, and I'm the oldest boy, uh, third kid, right? I got to make sure they get home at 3 o'clock because we all got to join up outside and wait for each other. So I got to protect 3 girls and a boy on our way home from school. I got fights in and out, and you expect me to learn multiplication? How is that going to feed them? So the way they were teaching us, we already knew what to do. Get up, get out, and get something. That was in a rap song. You dig? So when we learned all of that and knew it, they were unlearning it. They were re-engineering us to be stupid. Yo, go get a job, raise a family. All that's bullshit. Because when you die, your job doesn't get transferred to your kids. They find somebody else and move on and act like you never existed. You dig? So when I look at people talking about hip hop, and I tell them that's not hip hop anymore, that's rap, and that's just commerce. It's like H&M and Zara. That's fast food bullshit. Has no substance. So I don't listen to rap anymore. I'll listen to, you know, which gets to one of the reasons we hear. I listen to soul music. And one of the dopest stories that I learned my first year in Vietnam created my newest company. And my company is called Soul Alley. And I'll give you the backstory on it. Back during the war, we still had segregation in the United States. So now, can you imagine me and you fighting together against a common enemy? But then you're also my common enemy while we at the crib, which means we over here at the airport, which is the staging area, right? So now, when we had our off days, we still had a white area, black area, which is the dumbest shit in the universe. You know, this is America, though, right? So we inherently stupid. Let's be stupid. The black soldiers found or mined a neighborhood as we always do. And they went to the local Vietnamese, gangsters, soldiers, and everybody and said, yo, if y'all don't shoot us over here, we not shooting y'all over here either. This is going to be our little Switzerland. And they taught the local Vietnamese how to make fried chicken, mac and cheese. They were dancing to Aretha, Smokey Robinson, and they created an ecosystem in just 3 blocks, 4 blocks that created a whole movement out here If you look at culture and you go out there in the area I'm talking about, they cook just as good as us, if not better. And I mean Black people, because they learn so much culture from us. Go to Carol Saigon Soul and listen to Carol Kim, one of the dopest singers you ever heard. And she's probably in her 60s or 70s, still alive now, still doing shows, super dope lady, and sings like you think she's a Black lady because she learned all of that from the culture. And unfortunately, when the brass, from what I understand, found out about it, they bulldozed the neighborhood. So I was watching the documentary because the original documentary was talking about the lost kids, because when, guys wasn't out here fighting, they was out here fucking. So they left a whole bunch of kids out here that, it's Kardashians everywhere. You know what I mean? It's something else out here, And when you look at it, you're like, yo, there's no way you can't be something Mexican or something Irish or something other, because there's so many different blends of cultures. And now 40 years later, this culture looks just like New York in certain parts. And it's so dope because even if they don't know they got swag, they already had it. You can't just, it's either you got it or you don't. And I seen that in this culture. So when I grabbed the name Soul Alley and I said, you know what? We're going to the Soul Alley Coffee. That's the coffee part of the business, which, obviously, why uh, I'm selling coffee. I got here and I was a Starbucks baby. And you couldn't tell me different. I just came from China. Starbucks makes a great cup. It looks good, but the coffee's shit. Sorry, Starbucks, but it is. And, they burn all their beans. And, during COVID, Starbucks was closed. So I had to go to Circle K. And I was like, all right, what is this? Give me a black coffee, man. Don't put no milk. Don't put no sugar in it. I just want to taste this. And I tasted their black coffee and it had me bouncing off the walls. And I was like, fuck, this coffee costs like 20 cents for this cup. I wonder how much they paid for it. And I started reverse engineering the coffee until I found a few coffee partners, packaging, sent a bunch of bags to the US, and I gave it to a lot of my coffee enthusiast friends. And I got them hooked on the coffee that is cracked for us. Mm-hmm. And we started importing Soul Alley softly over the past year and a half. And the reception of Vietnamese coffee has been incredible because the variables were all in place.
This coffee is so good. Like before I got here last year, I had no idea like how much coffee they export. I didn't realize that coffee culture.
Well,
but yeah,
here, look at the variables being in place. It was so dope. We had COVID, right? And why do you drink coffee in the morning? Wake up, get you up, get you functional. You need that quick burst of dopamine. It just boom. This got a gallon of it in one sip. That exactly. So I'm bouncing off the walls now. I just drank coffee downstairs an hour ago. But point being is like, I'm watching the essential workers and I'm like, yo, you know what? When I drank coffee in New York in the bodegas back when it was 50 cents, right? And this was in the recent future. This was recently. I said, yo, you know who keep the same hours? Cops and criminals. Mm-hmm. Pimps, whores, cops, criminals, construction workers, handymen, and the like, right? I said, you know what the variable is here? They all at the same bodega buying this coffee. So now when I got back to New York last year, that swill, that garbage that's in there was $3.50. And I said, yo, the added value that I could bring just by putting my coffee in those places is phenomenal. So we started buying coffee machines, and I took a couple coffee machines to the firehouse. Yo, just buy the coffee from
Are you
me.
doing this only in New York City or other places?
No, I'm doing it worldwide. Okay. But because of what was going on with COVID last year, pretty much this time was the first time that I went home in 7 years, between COVID and just building businesses. So when I got back to the US, I did not realize that everything changed. So like completely everything changed. Retail, brick and mortar, that's half dead. Most of the businesses online, it's about ad sales and traction and who you know on the internet more than, I met Denzel Washington. He don't have nothing on Joe Budden's podcast. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You might know Will Smith. What the fuck does that got to do with Cameron's podcast, who's
Yeah.
getting 10 million hits a day?
Yeah.
So I had to restructure my marketing brain in order to figure out how to attack the market in the proper way. So with my group Venmerica, that's my group here where we develop all of our products for the different companies. We have Soul Alley, we have Bum Department, we have Bellamy, which is our equivalent of a Martha Stewart home goods
So
project.
Vin America is a Vietnam business or a Singapore holding company? I hear people do either one.
No, it will be a Vietnam
Okay.
business because I'm going to live here,
Okay.
and that's the company here. But you know, I like to be part of the culture. I export and import culture. So when I say then, that's my homage to this culture
Okay.
because like I was just talking to the was this co-COO of VinFast, right? And I'm looking at that VF3 Jeep, the little one, not the big truck, the little one, like a little Suzuki. And I sent them a message and I'm like, yo, that's a dope little car. And I put a Wu-Tang sticker on it. And I said, yo, let me help you get marketing because they opened up a $3 billion facility down in North Carolina. I said, yo, if nobody knows you're the proverbial tree that fell in the woods, nobody know about it, it didn't happen. I don't care how many billions you spent.
Hey, before I forget, so one thing I need to do is saw this friend of mine in the Seattle area, named Cheyenne Sailor, right?
Mm.
He wants me to introduce you to him. Like he does a lot. He's a hip hop artist, a lot of stuff. He doing some stuff with Wu Tang right now, and I got to connect the two of you.
Which Wu-Tang? There's several Wu-Tangs. So
Oh yeah,
Sons of Man Wu-Tang.
yeah,
There's a lot of different Wu-Tang
that
sets running around.
yeah,
So
that
I know RZA. I
yeah.
know Meth,
Okay,
Raekwon. I know
okay,
those guys. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So when you talk about which Wu-Tang
yeah.
is it
Because he introduced you like doing some shoe manufacturing stuff out here, so I
okay.
got introduced the two of you.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like that's part of the business is bridging culture and making you know uh one of the manufacturers was asking me telling me after they because they usually end up giving me what I call the affirmative action orders. You know, it's like fucking just after you fucked up all over the place, right? So I said, listen, this is what Alibaba is in the macro sense. You call whatever company you land on in Alibaba for your pencil. That guy asks for $100. He puts the pencil in there and he sends you the pencil. You need that pencil. That pencil is either a pen or it's halfway done. In order to fix that sample, you got to send another $100. By the time you finish sending $400, that guy who's the production person is either pushing you into the order or guess what you just did? You damn near paid a month of his salary. So now times the 100 people that might have called that particular guy, much less everybody in the world needing a good calling everybody on Alibaba. Alibaba in just that is a business. There's a guy looking to, there's plenty of jerks, America, Asia, all over the place. A jerk is a jerk. But there's a business in a customer not standing behind their product. So, like, even my friends, they call me, yo, D, can you make me 50 t-shirts? I said, what? So you could sell two, give away 15, and throw the rest in your fucking garage and waste my time? If you're going to invest in yourself, then I'll invest my time in you. So when I invest my time, I need you to buy 600 of those shirts. So when you see all those boxes in your living room, you have a real going concern in front of you because your husband or your wife need to get those out of the living room. So you either selling them, giving them away so we can stay in business. I'm not here to play. You know, the reason that I can do things in what people say fast or well is because I spent 30 years learning how to do it. The same as Michael Jordan. He can shoot 80 points and shoot from anywhere on the court because every day he spent 8 hours in the gym before he went to the game. So when I spend my time with companies, and I'm very selective now on who I get involved with, I'm getting involved with the whole thing as opposed to you just want goods. There's Alibaba for that. Good luck.
Talk about this. Can you talk about either the challenges or how hard or easy it is to export stuff for Vietnam?
Oof. Logistics.
The
Okay.
logistics, supply chain, that kind of stuff.
Well, considering that the entire supply chain for the whole world broke down over COVID, those things don't just fix themselves. So couple that with Nike, Adidas, Puma, Lululemon, and 20 other giant companies, mega companies jumping the needle and coming to Vietnam. So you're trying to stuff this much food down a very small throat. Vietnam has what, a ship leaving port every Thursday? Now, whose goods are on that is subjective to who put them on there on Monday. And if all of those variables aren't put together before the week before, you're going to miss that delivery. So I think now, because logistics is a huge business, that's a very open market for whoever wants to jump in and straighten that out. Uh, is there a way to get goods out? Yeah, it all comes down to money. But the logistic chain breaking down is the perfect opportunity for people to build smaller, more efficient logistics chains. You know, China, and the reason, one of the reasons China broke down is because back in 15, we're not even talking about COVID stuff, they didn't get that the business was running to the internet. They were looking for the million units from Walmart or the 100,000 units per color of a style. And I'm sitting there like the boy who cried wolf in China going, listen, guys, they're all running on the internet now. So it's not about one color, 1,000 units. It's about four colors, 300 units, and delivering it 6 times a year as opposed to twice. So the business, the whole idea of business changed. You know, whatever you knew, like I talked to a lot of these old guys, and when I talk to them, you know, this is how we did it. Well, bro, post COVID, nobody knows shit anymore. So dump your mind of what you, if you know it, I don't want to deal with you because you know too much to teach you.
I think to me, my point of view, I think that was one thing good thing about COVID. I think COVID made everyone realize how little everyone knows.
Yes.
Like this, whatever your title is of this company, he's trying to figure it out like everyone else. Like no one knew shit. We're all
It's
trying to
scorched
figure it out.
earth.
Yeah.
It became scorched earth.
No
So
one knew
you can
shit.
tell me, I was working with a company, it was this bag company out of Brazil. And this is right during COVID. And because I knew the guy from China, he asked me to go and check on his production. So I was like, okay, that's what I created a whole nother business out of that with consulting and being on the ground and watching people's production because I said, all right, bro, I'm gonna go take a look at your production. You're definitely getting an invoice, but I'll go look. I get to the factory and I go to the factory and I see all cars in the factory, no bikes. Simple math, no bikes, no workers, no stuff. So I do the jog through with the factory manager, and they're shuffling me through and hustling me through. And I get back on the phone. My man, I said, when did you ask for these goods to be delivered? And he's like, oh, like next 30 days. I said, and they told you this? It was going to happen. I said, well, unless they got Keebler elves in the basement, ain't shit happening, bro. You know why all those cars are in the driveway? And I'm showing them. I said, those are the salespeople and the managers. You know what their job is until further notice? Sell. So they're going to take your order, take your PO, take your money, and you're going to go in the line with everybody else. And when COVID is over, which we didn't know at the time it would be a couple years, you know, a year into it, when that's over, then they're going to look at the line and go, who paid the most first? And then you're stuck in that line. So now if you want a reality check on it, I'll pull the fabric out of this facility and I'll go put it over there with a small guy because you know this guy was saying, oh, this is where the big guy makes his and this big guy makes his. I said, then your little 15,000 bags don't mean shit to them because they make millions of bags for this guy. So I'd rather be a hero to a startup bag company that would appreciate a 15,000 bag order than to go begging such said big guy, hey, can you do my no, fuck that. Go to where you're celebrated, not tolerated.
How does this work, right? Like how does fashion work across the world? Like does each country have their own fashion sense? Like how does that play in the business? Like how do you figure out like, okay, this is a hot fashion thing in India, this hot fashion thing in the United States? Like how do you
Well,
like
you know what's
wrap your head
about
around that?
Asia? And a lot of people, you know, you can go on any websites and most of they call them forecasters or style trend forecasters. Usually it goes by container. So the Samba, right? The Adidas Samba. 2 years ago, that shit was all over the market in China, or even go back to Yeezys. The mailman wore Yeezys. Because when China gets it, and here's the rub. Here's where everybody, the rubber meets the road. You getting knocked off is only based on your popularity. So if Adidas bought 12 containers of Yeezys in 3 colors, the customs guy, his cousin, is in fashion, and he's gonna go, hey, Adidas bought a whole lot of this shit, and he's gonna show him that's what's gonna be popular in America by container load, and then that turns into filtering because the outsole guy. Okay, here's what stealing is in China, or theft of IP is Adidas, Nike, Puma, or any of the other big guys walking into the legit authorized factory with the USB. Hey guys, we want you to make our newest greatest shoe. Bet. Sign the paper. Here's 10 million in orders at this price because we Adidas. We want 10 million shoes and $3 a shoe. You get 30 million. That's enough to keep these machines running forever. Ain't enough profit for you. What's enough to keep them shits running in this factory open? So now, if I'm the smart cousin, I'm gonna leave that USB on the table after Adidas leaves, and my other cousins walk in because my cousin got that factory down the block, and that factory. So you're gonna see tier one Adidas, which we call stitch for stitch. You're gonna see tier two Adidas, which say abi da 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 on the back of it, but it's still got all the same elements. And then those guys are going to go sell that down the market until they can't get any more money out of that hot new USB. And then when Tet or Chinese New Year comes around, they all meet up at mom's house and drop off bags of money to each other. So you thinking your IP is under protection? Eh, good luck.
So how does it from the 30,000 view, like how does the design process work? I suppose you're gonna like design a new shoe, right? How's that process work? Like you have like designers give you ideas. Do you say like, hey, of course you got to make it for different like
You mean the
like
looks or the construction
like
part running through the
when's
process?
the process? Yeah.
Well, okay. We always start off with the main word in the shoe business is the last is first. And that's basically creating the shape of the shoe. In China, we call it the Xiao Pi Gu. It's got to have a nice ass on it. It's got to have a shape. So when I see an idea of a shoe and theft is rampant, ain't nobody coming up with the next shoe. Everybody steal from everybody. Like I went to the Shoe Dogs thing and I took pictures of all their feet. That's like the Oscars for shoes out here. Reason I took picture of everybody's feet is because they all wearing the newest styles from next year. And I told them I'm stealing for next year. I'm not in the business of worrying about what new outsole it could happen. I'm wondering, just like everybody else, what's coming out so I can give you my Burlington, my Foot Locker version, and maybe even if I'm lucky enough, my Skechers version. Because those are the real doctors. Those are the guys that wait for everybody to fish, and then there's the whales that come and eat everything. So take a key out of their book. So after you get the right shape of the shoe and you look at the patterns and the styles that are going on in the apparel, and then hip hop comes into it. It's just immersing yourself in whatever culture. So with it being the year of the snake coming up, snake patterns are coming out from everywhere. So how do I incorporate a snake pattern into a shoe using this outsole? What is my upper going to look like? So taking all of those things, the end result is basically your salesperson to the customer. So my salesperson telling me what the buyer said in the States. Oh, the Samba was so good last year. We need to, dude, if it was last year, that shit is over with. So do you want the chunky version of it? Do you want a new look to that Samba? Not just saying specifically the Samba, but when we say Samba, we're talking about the cup sole, outsole. So when you look, do you want a new look? But the buyer being some institutionalized kid that want to keep his fucking job, he's only buying what the boss told him. So you can't be but so creative in that space, unless you are disruptive, which the internet gave us now. So the disruption comes in it. Yo, bro, you can buy all of the $4 to $7 shoes you want. They still look like shit on the shelves. Now it's making the guys who we call them the grave diggers pay more to play. That same $4 to $7 shoe is now $10 or $11 because you want to have something to compete with. Asia will give you exactly what you want, but it'll have a 1 hour warranty. You want to compete? The new $4 shoe is now $7. So get used to it.
So I pulled this off your LinkedIn, right? On somewhere you did a post that said the open outsole business is evolving with injection molds and customization options reaching new heights of quality and creativity.
Yes. Well, the beauty of it was it happened through osmosis. It was during COVID. So think about it. COVID happened. Most people dumped their orders. When they dumped their orders, Nike, Adidas, and Puma didn't make the outsoles when they ordered the shoes. The outsoles had to be made 3-4 months before it all hit. So when everything went bad, you had a whole bunch of product from smaller companies that just got canceled. You think that the manufacturers, whether it's shoelaces, outsoles, uppers, or the like, are going to throw it in the garbage because you said so? No, they threw it in the open market. So now you're walking around looking at product. You're looking at product that may or may not be a few years old, but no one saw it, so it's still new. So now you can pick up on the design reference. When people say they invented some shit, bro, you went to the outsole factory, looked at what's new, what's going on, and you designed your upper around it. That's what they're doing because most of the companies that are price conscious, they're not giving you room to design your own outsole. They're giving you enough room to say, hey, this is the outsole that we found in the market that's going to meet our price point. Design the best uppers you can on that. And that's the upper part of the shoe. That's the t-shirt part. But the outsole, the brass tell you what you're working on. The Cortez, if you look, anytime the market gets rough, and I mean economically, everybody goes back to cup soles and vulcanized. So if you go on Gucci's website, I don't give a fuck if that's $800. That's a cup sole shoe. That shoe is made about $12, bro. Cut the bullshit. You just running up the score. When you see the vulcanized version of the Adidas shit, man, you running up the score on people. And that's because it's a money grab. Oh, training shoes are it. Bro, that's fucking, I know what you're doing. So being creative, yeah, good luck with your 1,200 pair. When you want to make some money, go to the market like everybody else. Look at the product that the guys who made last year, the best product, and enhance that. Go make money.
So back to AI real fast. Do you think the time's going to come, or maybe it's already happening, where AI robots take the place of factory workers?
No, because the nuances with factories, skill sets are what's going to destroy the factory worker, and we're going to regress before we go back. Meaning, you need a real craftsman in there. There's certain things on the wheels that I've seen and on the assembly lines that I've seen that I couldn't pull that off. I couldn't understand that. I don't know how they did that, but the way you glue it, the type of glue, the type of ball resin all of these different things come from craftsmen. And when you have a craft, like Vietnam is great with craft. When you have a craftsman, that takes time. You can't laser cut it. Like I'm looking at the 3D shoe revolution, right? And that's about to go the same way the fucking VCR went in the Betamax. Because we remember the Maker Bot? That's which way that's gonna go. Everybody said, "Oh my God, we can make our own shoes." And no, 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 bro. This is just a whole bunch of bullshit that you can make a great sample with. One of my old bosses, we had one of the original. I forgot it was the big machine. It was about as big as this table. It cost 150 grand. We didn't even know how to make a goddamn cup with it. And that was the early versions of it. And we probably all got radiation poisoning from it, from x-rays. But now I'm looking at the technology. It's dope for the purpose that it was made for. It cuts down the time between making a sample collection and presenting it to your customer. That's all it's good for. But the actual putting the shoe together, you're going to still need craftsmen. And the market is not going to let you skimp on that. Not right now.
Okay. So earlier you talked about sustainability, right? So a lot of people don't know this, but like there's a lot of like textile waste, like this stuff going on. Like, how do you help prevent like textile waste and make sure like your product is sustainable and climate friendly as possible?
In a simple story, Vietnam takes back all of the West returns from Zara, H&M. They take all of that garbage back, right? And Vietnam re-imports a lot of it to take the dye out of the denim, strip down the cotton, and then spin new garments out of there. What spawned from there is an entire secondhand vintage market within that market. So just in the Ton Bin area, there's almost a whole village of secondhand vintage clothing. In the vintage market right now is an $80 billion market this year that's growing to 127 billion. If you look at the numbers, 127 billion over the next 2 years. And that's because people are tired of the fast food fashion because, I'm not tired of it because I understood the value of it. I'm tired of not doing something with the waste. So what we started doing is that we'll go and buy denim. I'll go buy 200 pairs of jeans, recycled jeans, or just vintage jeans. And what we did was we started turning those jeans into jean jackets, recycling them, cutting the denim up, repurposing them, putting the new patches on, and sending them back out there as bespoke product. One or two pieces of just this jacket, nobody else has it, and we're wrapping it around the t-shirts and the hoodies and the baseball caps because the kid I remember back in the days you couldn't come outside dressed the same way as I did. One of us got to go inside or we got to fight this out. That's what being an individual was. They took every kid out here and put him in the same goddamn Adidas tracksuit and track pants. You can't tell the difference now. So I think there's a small collective now that are looking for how to be different and repurposing clothing. Ralph Lauren just opened his vintage site. I don't know if it's within his site or he has a separate site, but he's buying all his old vintage back because the trade and the resale on his vintage is phenomenal. He's got shirts for $200, $300 that he ain't making no money off of. Him, just like Nike, they want to buy it all back now. But you're killing the market. Basically, stay in your lane. You're killing the market that's making you. Ask Tommy what will happen with him. You know what I mean? Leave well enough alone. Let the kids make money the way they want to make money. Stop taking it all.
So how much does it not factor? Like, how much does affordability of your product factor into your process?
Make it as cheap as possible and give the customer the greatest value or uh, don't gouge. There's a point where you're ripping people off. So when I see a $680 vulcanized Christian Dior sneaker sitting in the store, I'm pretty pissed off at that because let's just say 10% of the market bought the real ones. It's $600, $700 a pair of shoes.
So what's a from your point of view, what's a reasonable markup for something?
If you go 50% to 150% above the factory price, you still ain't gonna hit $300 for the goddamn shoe.
Yeah.
A vulcanized outsole, if you're a company like that, should cost maximum $3 for the outsole. Now sew the up on, you got another $4 on there. You got a $9 shoe. So you got a $9 shoe. It's fair to take $18 to $25 out of that shoe. Now, when you start saying first cost is 122, who you lying to, bro? It's poverty in the world. Oh, we don't want them to get it, but you know who's buying it. You know why you made that shoe. You know why you put all the goddamn G's on that particular boot, because the low profile Gucci, there's a certain customer that wears that. The high profile logo all over that shit, you know why you did that. And when you guys get low on the dough, you start introducing that product some more. That's the reality.
So this next question could probably be an entire podcast by itself, right? But talk about the process of opening a factory in Vietnam. Like, did you like build a whole new building? Do you take a factory over?
No, because it's such a small, it's a different style than China. And because you have family factories is what I call them. You know, upstairs the family lives, downstairs you got one assembly line making flip-flops. I don't have to own them. I just give them enough production that they can't work with anybody else. So if I find someone, I don't jump the needle because you know, the luxury of being a small company is you're looking for real partner friends. I want to trust that you can do your job, and trust that I can bring you the right order, pay the bill, and help you elevate. Because if I give you 10,000 units of a flip flop that I seen you make, and you make money, you're happy about me. And if you make 10,000, the likelihood of me getting an order for 100,000 is pretty much there. So if you trust me, I'm going to trust you. And we're this part of the business is the new part for the Vietnamese small companies. They don't have listings for a lot of these guys on like Made in China you would go to, or you could go to the Chinese Department of Commerce and say, hey, give me a mid-sized or small factory. They'll send you to the area, but specifically, can you find the guy that only makes T-shirts? Do you really need the Nike supplier for T-shirts? Why? What's the difference between him and the guy that worked for Nike for 15 years and decided to open his own t-shirt company because he knows the same technology because Nike didn't want to pay him the right amount of money? I go to him. I like that guy. Me and that guy can talk. We can grow together. We can scale.
So how do you do quality control at the factory? How does that work? Is there quality control people there, or
Within, yes, most of the factories that I work with, they have their people in place,
okay.
and I send my people there depending on this. I'll do quality control. Like I literally pack 1,200 shoes on a line with people, looking at every pair to make sure it was right. Like, you know, there's quality control and understanding your market go hand in hand. You don't want to worry about quality control. Make the great shoe and stop skimping on price. You know what I mean? If you want to chump on price and you don't think they're gonna tell you, okay, the laces cost $1.25. You don't want the laces for 50 cents. Well, you're gonna get the 50-cent laces then. You understand what I'm saying? Because you can't take away another man's profit just to make yours up. So give the customer what they want and stop skimping. Raise the price a little bit. That's what we're doing.
So you started interning on 20 years old. How long did it take you to figure out like the financial part of the business, like the P&Ls, like all the
Last year.
last year?
Well, not last year, but it's a moving organism. Like you're constantly learning because everyone needs to make something. The guy who sells you the eyelets wants to make a profit. Everybody can't be, again, make the best product and then pass either the savings or the extra cost on to the customer. That's just the bottom line. Some people just don't like saying the shit, you know. And I strive to try to make the best product because I know once I put my markup on it as a small guy, I'm going to still fit. Right? I want to sell a $65 retail shoe in Foot Locker. That means that I got to make that shoe for $13 and less. Cool. I got a lot of room with that because I know how to make a $4 shoe. You know what I'm saying? But for the guy who wants to just make the best shoe, and you're not going to get it out at $4, bro. And you not owning the company is going to get your ass fired. That's the reality.
Yeah. So is making a shoe kind of like making a car? Cause some people realize like someone makes a car, they bring the windshield for somewhere else, the tire somewhere else. So you mentioned like the eyelets. So all the different part of shoes come from different places.
Well, in Vietnam, yes,
Okay.
right now. I mean, they do have big shoe companies, obviously, and that have all of those components in one building. And when I say in one building, meaning one factory. But in Xinjiang, you can go to the World Trade Center, which is what it's called. That's the big fabric center. And every shoe component, you can collect those components and then take those components to the factory and say, here, this is downstairs, this is in room 301, this is upstairs, so on and so forth. You know, and that's Vietnam's learning that now and getting in tune with it. And one of the big things you would have in China is everyone knew to have a showroom. So you go to the showroom where you can see the finished products on the wall, whether it's hats, tote bags, footwear, t-shirts. Here, you mostly go directly to the factory. And there's a double-edged sword with that because You got Walmart in there. They're looking at the certificates on the wall, which there might not be any, but it is a factory that can do the job. So who's right, who's wrong? You know, and later on, they're going to start absorbing the small guys and trying to fold them in. And these guys are going to be hella resistant to going because they're okay where they are. So I think, that's the rub going forward.
So how does this work? I'll make this up. Like, suppose a factory has an order for 100,000, whatever it is, right? Do they like work 9 to 5 until it's done? They work 24/7 until it's done.
They work by piece.
Okay.
So a schedule is a schedule. It's like, look, if I'm the guy who gave you the order, I'm the production, and you're the production manager, and I say, okay, can you get this done by 4/1? And he has to promise me 4/1 because, okay, if it's not done by 4/1, by 4/7, I need a 10% discount. You're gonna lose every week after that until this is done because I'm stuck with you. You dig? So you have to put stops and barriers in for both sides and protections until you get to a trust point where the order's there, they know the money is there, and everybody has to do their job.
Can you talk about the process of finding customers for your shoes, like whether it be Foot Locker or individual people or Walmart or whatever the case may
Well,
be?
because my company is new, but I have so many years in the business, it's a lot of word of mouth. And now with things like Brand Boom, and other platforms where you can open your business, you can showcase your product directly to whatever brick and mortar might be left in the world, and you can buy ads. You have so many different ways to present product. I'm selling product in Malta right now. Have I ever been to Malta? Hell no. But I got people over there. So, and they found me through different platforms that I'm on, whether it be Instagram, LinkedIn, social media, me gifting a shoe to a rapper and them showing it, hey, where you got that from? So, I had a brand I still have it, a brand called TRPL, The Right Path in Life. And that's a hip hop dedicated brand and vulcanized shoes where we license it from some of the top hip hop artists. My first drop was with Public Enemy, Wu-Tang, Jizza from Wu-Tang, Onyx, Brand Nubians, Naughty by Nature, and one to say Duck Down Music. So I took these 6 licenses, and the reason that I took them first is because each one of those groups tours 100 days out of the year. And the way we package the shoe and the way we put the brand extensions and put everything together, Vinny from Naughty by Nature, which is a rap group that's been in business for now almost 30 years. This is the 25th to 30th anniversary. So they're on what we call the Tom Joyner cruises. They hip hop parading at this show starts at 9 p.m. ends at 11. It don't start at 11 no more. But those are the buyers. They go buy $250 worth of merch. They buy the ticket for Naughty by Nature to go to the concert, and then they buy the bundle pack where the t-shirt, the shoe, the sock, all of those things are in there. So my job, knowing those guys, that's 100 days per group. Onyx is in Yugoslavia and Kazakhstan and Russia and places that I haven't been, exporting culture. Brand Nubian is touring all over the United States. Chuck D is doing rock and roll tours with Limp Bizkit. And so 6 guys doing 600 shows a year. All they need is 100 pairs, 200 pairs of shoes on the road. Package the bundles right. And after the concert, when the customer pays that $250 for the concert, they go home with a package that they can trust. So we found out, and we thought of different creative ways to do the same thing. I don't have to sell. We were anti guys like Foot Locker, and now you see why. They buy your brand to die. Then they're Nike bitches. Mm-hmm. They're not our bitch. So you can't. They're gonna give you 3 slot walls, maybe 6 with 2 colors of one shoe on the wall. That's setting you up to die. That's setting you up for failure. So instead of me having to go punch a brick wall and prove to you that I'm just as good as you, shit, I go to where I'm celebrated and buy some real estate on the internet. And now I can show as much product as possible, put it in their hands. And when those guys do come back to me, and they will, it's money on the wood just like everybody else. Fuck your 30 days, 60-day invoices. Pay.
So it seems like most of your product is very colorful, right? I'm guessing that's on purpose, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Think about why your stuff is so colorful.
It attracts attention. I don't wear it. I wear a fucking black t-shirt and a white t-shirt and black pants. But I'm not the customer anymore. I'm the facilitator. It's like I'm the guy, the what's the conductor in the orchestra. Them kids back there that I'm conducting, the shoe designer, the graphic designer, shout to Jenny and them. Those are the ones that come up with the wild, crazy ideas. And I look at them and go, yeah, I'd buy that if I was 20. I would. I ain't wearing that shit, but I'd buy it. Hell yeah. You know, I remember one time my sons, right? This was when they were about four. One of my youngest son was about 14, right? And I had my dopest design on the computer, and I run in, yo, Dylan, what you think about this? He's like, that's nice, Dad. It was 1982.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, and I looked at him, it's like, oh, you know, I'm gonna kill you and make another kid and name him after you and move on, right? But other than that, I knew to get out of that business that it was a younger generation's game. You know, it's like me trying to rap right now. What's the point? You know, unless I'm gonna call myself Pops, you know, to rap a pop.
Rapping at nursing homes and shit.
Exactly. I'm
or the Tom Joyner cruise.
That might be a business there. That might be a business.
So next, talk about how you're building a bridge between innovation and manufacturing.
I'm sorry?
How are you building a bridge between innovation and manufacturing?
I'm watching the Silicon Valley Palo Alto dudes come out here running around like chickens with their heads cut off with all of the new technology. And I'm saying, ooh, how can we make a smart shirt? How can we make how can the hang tag in the shirt? Avery Dennison is doing stuff like this right now. They're the label tag, one of the biggest label tag companies out here, right? And they're integrating technology with the QR codes and integrating tech into different ideas through the label systems. And we, you know, I had a couple meetings with them, and I was trying to figure out how can I present something they didn't see yet. Is it a D ring? Is it a hang tag? Is it something that gives you, that tells you where your shirt's been all over the world? Because like I saw a pair of FUBU jeans in a vintage market in Saigon and Tunbin. And I'm like, I wonder if I could trace the history of that jean back to where it's been. I bet it has a story to tell. That jean was probably in Brooklyn somewhere or Nebraska, made its way to a truck somewhere from Jimmy Jazz, got on a boat.
And the stories all the people wore the pair of jeans.
That's what I mean. Like that, it might have been worn by 3 people or one rapper. Like there's seen a Rockaway shirt.
That's a Netflix series right there.
You see what I
easily.
Mean? So now imagine if you had the RFID chip inside of the cuff, and you could trace the lineage of where that gene been to where it is now. That would be a dope story.
That'd be very cool.
Yeah, stuff like, so I look at technology as a how can I jump in it's like double dutch.
Yeah.
What time can I jump in the rope without fucking this up? You know what I'm saying? And stay with the music.
Let me ask you this, like, you said you're 57. When you were like your young 20s, like for your 20-year-old man again, would you ever think that when you're 57, you'd be this focused, this driven now?
I was focused back then. I was never a kid. That was a fucked up part about living in Brooklyn, is we never got to be kids. You dig? Like our childhood was, my childhood was based on the oldest boy, third oldest kid out of 10. Mother and father, God bless. You know, a lot of people didn't have both their mother and father. I was blessed to have both of my parents in the house, but it's 10 of us. We were a military unit. So we had food, clothing, and shelter to deal with. So we didn't have time to play.
Yeah.
And when you in Brooklyn, there was no, where you gonna go jump on some dirty mattresses? My mother said, go read a book. You know what I mean? Like our playtime was go read, go learn something, go expand your mind. Where, you know, now if you look, I understand where they was coming from, because now this is 20 years later. I'm like, have I ever thought I was gonna be in Vietnam? Nope. Did I ever think I was gonna be in China? Nope. Did I ever think I was gonna get off the block in Brooklyn? Fuck yeah. But I just didn't know where that was taking me. You know, my uncle was in apparel business. He ran a company called Yes Jeans. Like it was a different version of Guess. That's when the LA guys was really, you know, moving in the business. And I was so in awe of him, you know, like just being able to do something that I was like, I didn't understand how you can do it. The people he introduced me to, the Paul Guezzes of the world and the Dr. Bashay's and the guys who ran, I would be more in awe of them. Like, I didn't want to know Shaq. I wanted to know who the fuck gave Shaq $2 million to go start Twizzler. And then I met Morris Goldfarb. You dig what, like, that was my thinking. I didn't want to fucking know Russell. I want to know Ruby Azraq, Nate Kesselbaum, because those are the guys that wrote those checks to Russell to be in business. So like, how do I get to know that guy? And that's what got that. That's what I was intrigued about. And me wondering those things got me to places like this.
Can you talk some about how the five people you're around the most influences you?
How
You know
the
how they say that you're the average of five people around you?
Oh yeah. My most influential people. Wow. There's a guy named Tony L. And he was one of the guys that really, he was the guy I told you, he said, yo, great shoe, now make it for $10. And I watched him hustle every day. He's from the Bronx. And I watched this guy hustle every single day in the shoe business until he spawned that off into being a multi-billionaire at this point. Still friends to this day, 30-year friends, right? Fired me 15 times from the same company. I quit 12. But we still pick each other up in the morning. Like we got that type of relationship, family. But he taught me so much. Like, he taught me to not be afraid to be somewhere nobody knows you. You know what I mean? So drop me in anywhere in the world and I'll figure it out. And, we still do some business to today. My dad, God bless the dead, because my dad raised 10 kids, came home every day, spent 18 hours at work, 5 hours drinking, and the rest sleeping. Didn't know how he did it, but him and my mom stayed together for 47 years till he passed away. Army, I'm the Air Force veteran, the whole thing. So, big idol with that. He gave me work. He gave me work ethic, that ain't nobody gonna give you shit. You gotta get up, get out, and get something, and I try to push that into the younger generation, which includes my kids now. But they're smart. They can make the same money I was making back then on the internet, doing nothing. So I can't knock their hustle. Um, uh, I would say, shit, Maya Angelou, because she watched so much shit go down in the world and was still able to sing about it. So she understood why a caged bird sang. You dig what I'm like? She would write about it. It's like, how you got this much going on and you ain't you just writing? Like, I'll be outside with a gun. That's the difference between me and her. So I look at people like that. Um, I met Professor Fred Burke, right? This is an interesting story. He's a lawyer. He runs a company out here called Baker McKenzie. The first law firms when the war was over that America sent in to fix this shit. And 37 years ago, he came here, right? I don't know, I ain't gonna call his age, but early 60s, 70s. Look him up, but he was dope ass lawyer. But he was doing this is literally a couple months ago. And that's why I said he's somebody I look up to. He was doing a lecture at Columbia University in New York, and I'm working with one of my friends up there at night. He runs the security up there at night, and I happen to be walking in the hall with him, and I see this dude at the Asian Society door. It's got all of these different stickers and flyers up there. He's doing a lecture, and it's Asia, and it was talking about the state of Vietnam and what's happening, where's it going, all the blah blah blah. And I was like, well, fuck it, I want to hear this shit. So I signed up for the lecture and I go to Columbia that day and I sit inside of the lecture hall and obviously I'm the only black dude in there, about 40 kids in there, all Asian, and Professor Burke and another professor who runs the Asian Society. I got to join that society this month too, because they some dope people, really smart people. And Professor Burke is busting it down. He's like, Vietnam got all their laws from China, and we're trying to undo a lot of this stuff to right the wrongs. And by the time he goes through the economic parts of who, you should definitely have him on here. But he starts talking about economics and what's going on, and like it was almost like a kindred spirit. So he finished. He goes, hey, we got time for questions and session, comments and questions. And I turn around and waiting for one of the smart kids who go to Columbia University in all these PhD motherfuckers behind me to raise their hand. Ain't nobody said shit. So I raise my hand. So I live in Tongue Bend, and I'm opening up a business, and I'm a small businessman, and and I have to have protections on 3 different countries with 3 different lawyers, and just that alone is gonna wipe me out. And he backtracked. He said, wait. You live in Tongue Bend? And I'm like, he stayed on that.
Yeah.
And by the time me and Professor Burke finished talking, we talked for about an hour and a half when the class was finished. And he started saying, he told me, yo, join this society. This is the route you need to go. And what you're saying is in real time, meaning I went through that. I caught a beef out here with a factory removing my goods without my permission, and a customer and a bullshit vendor undercutting me, a poaching customer. I went through all of that within the year. And what I was telling him, I said, listen, for a guy like me, I have plenty of options, but for a guy like me that doesn't have the options, that could have got wiped out by just one swift move like that, there are no protections being instilled in Vietnam to help the small digital nomad entrepreneur to protect their businesses. Because first thing you do is you open a business. The second thing you do is figure out how to protect that shit. And that's not happening here because they follow the letter of the law. So preponderance of evidence is what the West goes by. I can sue you for looking at me too hard. You dig? But I got to have enough evidence that you looking at me too hard caused me damage. So that's just preponderance. Here, you could have bank receipt statements. You need a goddamn statement that said, I wanted this many items from this guy on this day. He didn't do it, and this happened, and that happened. And then you got to go to court with that. And you got to go look at a Vietnamese judge who might be looking at 2, 3 different foreigners in a court. He don't want to deal with that because we're all usurping from a country. Let's keep it real. So there has to be protections for the small guy. Adidas don't have this problem. Adidas got a guys for that. Adidas got a room full of lawyers that they feed bananas to every day, goddamn day. And they looking for shit to do because they making $500 an hour. Nike, Puma, and all those guys. But what about the guy who just the little engine that could, the next Jeff Bezos, and he's got a problem in Venezuela, Vietnam, and New York simultaneously because his company is built there. He's doing business over here, so he had to open up another company, and now he's got a buyer over there that decided he didn't want to pay for the goods when they got there. So how do I protect all the way through? That's 20. It sounds like 30 grand. Sound like 50 grand a year in just slush money. And hey, not knocking no lawyers, but my Venezuelan lawyer and my New York lawyer and my Vietnam lawyer all fell out the window. You know what kind of sandwich I'm gonna make? Give a fuck. I got Chat GTP law now. And now my lawyer is asking me, how do I have another lawyer? Because he's like 70 years old. It's like, I just need a stamp that says Esquire now, bro. Mm-hmm. I can answer my own goddamn questions. So everyone's being priced out of the market with the AI. It's making it more efficient, but it still costs. It still costs. So international law, I say that to say this. We have to get better in Vietnam on the Vietnam side with protections for the small and medium guy if you're going to get the quality of expat business person. If not, you're going to dwindle down to some Thailand shit. And not taking a shit on Thailand, but you know what it is, man.
Yeah. So how often do people come visit you here? Like your family, friends, kids? How often do you have people come visit you?
I don't know. No, I got friends in continents. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you come see me if you want to. Holler at me. I'm on every social media. Like, all that stuff is cool. But I'm at quality of life now. I love it. I get up, I jog, I swim, I do all of the stuff that I wasn't able to do in New York. In New York, I take 19 meetings and 18 and a half of them ain't worth shit. Here, I could waste my own time if I need to.
So you kind of just answered this question, but like, how do you take care of yourself over here?
Oh man, it's the GMO-free fruit every morning. Okay, and
Isn't it crazy how much the better the food tastes over here?
yo, bro,
It's like
okay.
so insane. It's just so insane how
This is
better it
this
tastes.
morning's breakfast. Beetroot, watermelon juice, pineapple orange juice. This is all the equivalent of 16 ounces in each three. I got my red, green, and yellow juice. In New York, each one of those juices are $10. Each one of those juices are pasteurized, and each one of them tastes like shit.
And you got to give a 10,000% tip to the person.
Exactly. And here I bought all three of those, and I'm forcing 50,000 dong on this lady because she don't want to take the extra 10. And I'm telling her, I'm like, listen, you keeping me healthy. You keep these juices coming, I stay alive. That's it. I want to stay how I look. I got the glow. I want to keep it.
And what do you do for fun over here?
Work.
Work. Yeah, that's my
It's
answer
all
too.
the same.
That's my answer to I work. Yeah.
It all the same. If your work is fun, your life is
Yeah.
fun.
I agree.
If you working to be working, you should quit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the whole thing is fun because I see that I love going to factories. I love, my girlfriend, she always get pissed off at me because she's like, you could just order it on Grab and have them deliver it. I say, nah, I gotta go smell it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see what the land look like.
See them like cooking and stuff. Yeah.
I want the dog to chase me out. You dig what I'm saying? I want to know the people that's making my food. So next time I can order it, but I like that part of it, like on the ground, being in, like, don't show me shit in D1, except Adam Peter. Shout out to Peter. He's got the greatest food. Like, that's a great settle. Go to Adam.
Yeah. So I was here for 10 days in September 2023 with some friends. We stayed 10 days in D1. Now we're staying here in Southdown District. But next time, I I really came like really like D3, right? For some reason. I like
This,
District
it's the
3.
up and coming,
I
like,
like I just like
it's the cool hip area
yeah.
because there's pockets of it. And in those pockets, they have the artsy kids. Here's the new business model over here. Here's the food and beverage guys over here. So they have they almost have the perfect mix of all tiers of life. So you want some high price,
Yeah.
5 million a man meal, yeah, they got that. But if you want to hit a red chair, sit outside and bust down some great banh mi, they got that.
Yeah, yeah. I've tried to be everywhere. Like, I've been to District 12, District 9. I've been in places like, man, the white dude maybe 10 miles around me, right? It's just so fun. Like, I went to a market ahead. They were selling the whole fucking ox, right? The head, the intestines, the organs. Like, damn.
You know what's
This is real Vietnam.
I'm inviting you out to Tan Binh. This Tan Binh is by the airport. I live in the 406, right? That's what we call ourselves, the 406. And the 406 got plenty great restaurants. I don't even know how this happened. I go to the seafood restaurant place. The pictures are all seafood. So I point to a fish, and I write, I don't eat I don't eat pork, so I need you to give me some white rice and vegetables. She bring me out a plate of beef with onions and red peppers, and I was like, well, fuck it then. I'm gonna eat this.
Yeah.
But instead of me being pissed off about it, I ate it. It was delicious.
Yeah.
It just wasn't what I ordered that day. I went back the next day. And this time I took the picture and I brought it with me. I was like, you make me this. She came back with a whole fish, white rice. First of all, it was $8.
Yeah.
A plate of oxtails in New York is $35 now. And that's a small plate.
Yeah.
And this is a whole fish with all of the trimmings and the beer next to it. $15 maybe by the time
Customer service is top notch.
They give you what you ask.
Yeah.
And they enjoy you enjoying it. Like it's not hello out here. It's did you eat?
Yeah. Yeah.
That means something because when
eat?
I'm worried more about did you eat, I'm worried about you.
Yeah.
When I just say hello, that's a flipping ass remark. I don't give a fuck how you really are.
Yeah.
But if I say, yo, did you eat?
Yeah.
That means
that's
that
more personal.
It's personal. It means so when I've heard this a lot, even like they you show the people how you want to be treated and they will respond in kind.
Exactly.
And I've seen that hour in and hour out. You know, you treat them nice, they treat you better.
Yeah,
Fuck up.
yeah. I spend so much time like going to random cafes, drinking coffee on the street, eating street food, sitting down, just observing stuff. You know.
I go to D1 sometime and I'm not appalled. I have apathy for the people running the McDonald's from the West.
Like, what are you doing?
It's like, yo, come on, son. Like, you really came all the way out here just to go to
Are
McDonald's?
you
Like,
serious?
yo, my stomach. So stop eating fast food.
Yeah,
Eat some soup.
yeah,
Listen, I cleaned all of America out of me. I've been back a month. I spent the entire month detoxing America the fuck out of me because I had very few choices being here for 3 years and going back there with good quality food. So my body was going, yo, man, why are we eating this?
yeah.
Why are we eating this? Because I was subject to, I wasn't able to eat home food. It's hotels and random family friends. I'm chilling. I eat at their crib, but it wasn't consistent. When I got here, I was like, juice every morning, lunchtime, pho, dinner, whole fish, and you can feel the immediate change in 7 days in your how much lighter you get.
So I live at right on the corner. It's like a mom and pop store, whatever. Every day I get a coffee and a juice. But the juice every day they make a different juice, right? So one day might be pineapple, one day guava, one day orange. Every day they change it up. Like what's the juice today? Today's this juice, right?
And once she knows you, she knows bring it to the table. And you listen. I've never seen them. They're so inviting, and it's all the people here.
Yeah.
They're so inviting that it's like I got 3 moms on the block. I got my coffee mom, I got my lunch mom, and sometimes my dinner mom. Yo, mom, make me some food. Mom don't have onions. I go to the grocery store, buy the onions and peppers, and bring them to her, and she says nothing about it. You don't have watermelon today? I go buy a whole watermelon just to get a cup. Keep the rest. Because that's being in the neighborhood and part of the culture. You know, the podcast guys that come out here for 5 days and think they know Vietnam. You ain't see shit, bro.
Travel vloggers and bullshit like that.
Yeah, like come on, like get in. If you're gonna do it, start from the beginning, wherever your country was, start from there and really go district for district. Because you'll never make it to one. By the time you get to District 1, you'll see everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you going on the I've seen one of them YouTube shows, and there was an American veteran went to the Coochie tunnels and complained about this is the way Vietnam won and how his pops died. What the fuck you doing out here?
Yeah.
You trying to fix yourself? They kind of keep that to yourself, or bring in a psychiatrist so she could tell us he fucked up.
Yeah, exactly.
But you come out here and first of all, the tour guide is 20 years old. You think he fucking know how traumatized you are or cares?
No, he don't give a fuck.
So stop reintroducing that bullshit. You know, you take your lumps like a man. Guess what? Somebody else pops died.
Yep.
Somebody else moms
On both
died.
sides.
You fucked up somebody else's sister. You fucked the whole country up in certain ways for a long time. And you not acknowledging that part. So for lack of a better word, fuck your pops.
So how many total years have you been here?
3 and 3 on directly during COVID. And then I bounced. And I'm back now a month, and I'll be here probably. This is the last stop, like I said.
So what's some things about Vietnam you think that U.S. people in America knew about?
That U.S.
What's some things about Vietnam that U.S. people in America knew about?
Knew about?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is like this is like an untouched gem, and most of it is backwards. Like I didn't even know this was called the American War over here.
Yeah, yeah.
You dig? Like simple stuff like that. Like you know,
I mean, it makes sense, right?
Well, yeah, because when I say we, meaning Vietnamese, we kicked their ass.
Yeah.
We kicked America fucking ass. Yeah. So yeah, it should be the American War. Yeah, y'all fucked up. We as Black culture should get closer to this country specifically. And when I say that is because we have more in common than we have differences. And my girlfriend's grandmother, knowing Muhammad Ali before television existed, says that exactly that. Because what did Muhammad Ali say? You know, Vietnamese ever call me nigger? That's what made him lose the belt. So when the grandmother knows this and there's no TV, they look at us way different. Now, I've been to China, Thailand, Korea, a lot of places. And a lot of people try to explain they black friend. Whereas they don't explain. They just, you either is or you're not. You cool with them or you not. They ain't running around going, this is my black friend. I know that type of dude. But I've been to a lot of countries that I've seen that shit first. And apologetically, when Obama was in office, fuck you apologizing to me for? How you know I like him? Let's keep it real. You dig what I'm saying? And when I look at stuff like that, I like genuine more than if you don't like me, don't like me. And I'm not the king of black people, so I don't have to explain the whole culture to some Dutch dude that goes, so why did they why the listen, if you ran up in my fucking house, I spent 40 years trying to get you the fuck out also. But I digress. Don't ask me stupid shit. You dig what I'm saying? Like we shouldn't be stuck there, and I shouldn't have to explain what's already known. We should just be. Guess what? You got a Ferrari outside. I got a bike. Guess what we both did? Buy a fucking Tiger. Can't separate the two when you go in the building.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? I don't have to wear. If you wear a Rolex and 600 gold chains, you'll look more like a goddamn fool out here than you would rich.
Yep.
So when you even the playing field, when everybody's even, that's when you could play ball. So based on me and my resilience over the last 30 years, because I can show you some shit that I should be on Forbes magazine for. But because of the color of my skin at the time and where I was from, they give it to the other guy. I'm cool with that. Because when I do get it, don't ask no questions about it. Most people talk about, I knew him back then, man, fuck you. Because when I was going through all of this bullshit just to get to where you met me at, I raised millionaires. Real talk. I raised millionaires. No, 30, 40 millionaires. That's millionaires of fucking New York. That shit is a dime a dozen. Are they going to give you money? Is the real rub?
Yeah.
2 billionaires. Are they going to give you money? No. Go get that shit yourself.
So from your point of view, what do you see as the future of Vietnam?
Growth.
Growth.
Pure growth.
Pure growth.
It's a rocket. It's just pure growth out here. So they have to stabilize the rocket before it so many people are dumping money. They're choking the country with progress. And if you can't expand fast enough to match the progress, like AI, it's one of the #1 countries for the new AI revolution. Look it up. Technology building, go to E-Town. They importing AI specialists and technology guys, IT guys from everywhere because they're keeping ahead of the curve. Ton been in Silicon Valley for out here. So when I'm looking at it and I'm going, yo, this kid's 17 years old. And just by osmosis, being around smart gets you smart. You dig what I'm saying? They ain't hanging around dummies out here. I love the fact that they are pushing to not be Thailand. And when I say to not be Thailand, the quality of tourists, the quality of expat that they're looking for says the game, and it's respectful because, you running around here just looking for a girl that, guess what? She got shit to do. You want to go find a girlfriend out here? Go to the phone store. Go buy phones. That's some of the most beautiful girls in the phone store with the pencil skirts and all that shit. And go to the phone. Don't go to Pastor Street. Go to the phone store.
So I saw somewhere like I read somewhere you're a big fan of trade shows.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how you take advantage of trade shows?
Information. I mean, I'll go all the way back to when we used to go to the big magic trade shows and we were trying to find new design ideas. We literally go inside of the trade show with cameras in our jacket, taking pictures of everybody else samples. So out here, the trade show flow is the same flow everywhere. You running for 10 hours, you shaking hands, kissing babies. But the substance now is us finding that little jewel off in the corner and expanding and scaling that jewel into a business. So me finding the Weasel Cat coffee lady who imports weasel shit coffee. I'm doing business.
And for those who wonder, that is actually a real thing.
It's a real thing.
He's not backing it up. Like there's such a thing as that.
Make this shit up.
It's actually, yeah, it's a real fucking thing. Yeah.
But it's funny because I just happened to be doing the merch program for Wingham Wildlife Park in the UK, right? I'm doing all their merch. And we were talking about coffee. And I was like, you know what would be a dope attraction to your coffee? We sell weasel shit coffee in the cafe.
Oh man.
Yeah, exactly. But it's really coffee, bro. Come on, man.
Yeah. So talk about this, right? So I have a saying, the more you do, the more you can do, right? Like a lot of people have been telling, right, oh, I can only work 9 to 5 and do one thing, but I've learned like the more you do, the more you can do, right? I don't care how many projects you do, you can always do another project, right? Can you talk about that mindset?
Um, when people tell you to only stay in one lane, it's only because they're afraid that you'll do it and they can't. So, if your ecosystem, let's say, have one ecosystem, and within that ecosystem, do as many products or all of them as you can. Meaning, all right, in Soul Alley, we got apparel, coffee, sea moss, merch, cups, plates, glasses, because it all fits in the same ecosystem. Now, when you invite people going to the trade show, you might go to more trade shows. You're not just going to the clothing trade show. You're not just going to the food and beverage trade show. Now, if you look at the way the globe is spinning now, uh, what's his name? Ralph. Ralph Lauren opened up coffee shops inside of his fucking retail stores. You know why? He making liquid cash. And now that's the hoity-toity place to go get coffee at while you're shopping for Ralph. And he's selling merch because he know the merch game works. So when you create your ecosystem and you have enough followers in your ecosystem, you just expand the products. But now you have to have a reason for being. Sell culture. Don't sell a thing. If you sell culture, you can sell anything in culture. But if you running around saying, yo, this is the new mug, nobody give a fuck about your mug. Sell culture. Why is that mug here? As opposed to all the other mugs I can fucking buy. Because this mug can self-stir. It has it's compostable. It does something else. Whatever it is, have sell culture. What is your reason for being? You don't do that now, you're just hustling product.
So let's suppose there's a young person out there, he's 20, 25, or he or she, whatever the case may be, they're young, they're pretty good at design, fashion, they don't want to get involved in the business, right? Whether it's like being a fashion designer or open their own business, whatever the case may be, they're young, they won't get involved in this kind of stuff. What advice do you have for them?
Actually, delete every bit of social media you got to start with, and then use that fucking device in your hand for good. Because the distraction is in the social media part. You spend 5 hours over there
That's
bullshitting
strolling.
about the idea of your idea. Idea without action is just a whole bunch of talk. So now when you delete all of that and give yourself 30, 40 days away from your friends, every day you wake up, ask yourself, does that idea matter? And if you still remember that idea, it's good that day. The next day you remember it, it's good. Then act on it immediately. Do one thing to go towards that idea, and you'll find yourself in an Asian country with a factory trying to figure it out. That's the new difference, is that everybody's attention span is too fucked up. You want to be a rocket scientist in the morning. You want to make food tomorrow. You want to be a car driver the next day. You want to be a race car driver and a basketball player. Okay, that is 7 different ecosystems. You want to do nothing, but all you did was show me you stupid. So reality is, this is my reason for being. This is what I want to do in life. Whatever you say it is. Now you got to get up in the morning and say, you know what? How do you make a pencil? Google it. That's what I mean about get rid of your social media and go straight. Matter of fact, don't even Google it no more. Ask chat.
Yeah. Well, there's this thing called YouTube University, right?
They will write it all down for you. They will write it in bullet points for you. So take that information and start using it for good. That's how you're going to grow. If not, you lying to yourself, and that's the worst person to lie to. Go lie to everybody else, but don't lie to yourself, because you got to be with you. So you want to be a fucking barber? Guess what? Learn how to use these shits.
Yeah, you gotta practice your craft, right?
Go ask your pa. I remember my ex-wife, I put her through nursing school, right? One day I came in the house and she was like, let me try needles. I said, hell no. Like, that's the only, you can take my blood pressure, but sticking it in, no, that's too close. I love you, but not that much. Do it on one of our kids. Right? Pick me.
That's funny. So let's suppose we're going to fast forward. Let's suppose it's December 20th, 2025. So on December 2025, what needs to have happened the previous year for you to say, okay, this was a good year for me. This is a successful year for me.
I'll first be alive. That's the number one thing. So
You're the first one to give that answer.
not the first or the first one.
First one.
Oh,
Let's say
okay.
be
Yeah.
alive.
Being alive is dope.
That would be a good one.
Yeah, that's a good start.
That
to
would be
it.
a good start. Yeah.
Start off by being alive because
Alive and healthy. Yeah.
hey, listen, man, the way I just heard that it was a Can America. Trump said he want to make Canada 51st state, and they doing a lot of shit out here.
Yeah.
You know, Cali on fire. You know, God bless all my friends in Cali. I hope you guys make it through, and we're gonna rebuild and start, you know, doing everything the right way. But this time next year, if I had to forecast it, and you know, I love every day of my life. I want to scale the company, be able to take my employees and the people that work for me and make sure that they're twice as rich as this year. I want their bonuses this year to be what I paid them all last year.
I think that's a great fucking goal for a business owner. That's a great mentality. Like,
I don't
let my people
what I
be
eat.
successful.
What do I eat for breakfast? What am I gonna do? You can't listen right now. If I took $5,000 and told you we going out, you think I was crazy? Because for the same money that we would spend in New York, I can spend $100 and get a whole bar wet easily without fail. So what is the value of money at that point?
Yeah.
So give it to people who actually really have a value for it. And I want to see those smart people, those cool ass kids and I have about 8 of them. And I want to see that family grow to where they're the new captains of the industry and they could go, yo, Pops over there, he looked out for me and made sure nobody jerked me around. He made sure I have my check. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I see for me next year is going, yo, y'all here. Mazel tov, or, you know, Chuck Moy no Moy. Just do your thing. Here's your bonuses.
So how many factories do you have? Just the one, or you have?
No, I don't own factories.
I mean, how many factories that you like do stuff
I'm partners with about 10 different factories.
Okay.
So each one is specific. My headwear guy makes headwear bags, socks, belts, denim, sportswear, and some other specifics. I'm even working with a furniture guy now.
So what's a skill you don't have that you wish you had?
I'm good right where I'm at.
Sorry.
Because you go as fast. If a guy came and gave me a $3 million order right now, I couldn't fill it, wouldn't fill it. I'd give it to somebody else who could and take the commission because I don't have the infrastructure to play with that. So I'll give it to a smart guy who knows how to do it. And then we'd watch it. But do I have any intrinsic value for myself in it? No, it's just a fucking order. If you gave me 1 million units, why didn't you send your own QC person out here to handle and watch your money for you? I wouldn't do that. So I don't see the value. When they give you big, giant orders, it's usually to kill you or because nobody else would take that on. So me birthing companies and helping grow companies the right way, that's the win for me.
So talk about this. I think it's called celebrity shoes, we'll say like a Shaquille O'Neal puts his name on a shoe. Is that good business? Is this publicity for the celebrity or?
Depends on who. Okay, so take the Steph Curry, right? Steph Curry was good for both sides, business and Steph Curry, because now Steph Curry and Under Armour are interconnected so well that that's probably 30% of their whole goddamn business is a Steph Curry shoe. But Steph Curry said it in the interview. Nike and Adidas was at the table. And they offered me shitload of money. But all money ain't good money.
A Domino's reference, right?
Which one?
Playing Domino's?
Yeah. It was slapping balls. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but all money ain't good money. So when Steph Curry took that deal, both companies were on their way with scaling. Under Armour was popular not because of the shoes. The shoes were shit in the beginning. They were popular for the compression shirt that they wore under the hoodie, all the football players. The problem was they were saturated through football, but nobody gave a shit about football players because they wear helmets. So they were stuck in a rock and a hard place. You did? And then they had a few great years here and there, enough sustainable years. They almost died a couple of times. You know, they'll tell you their own story. But then when Curry came along, he looked at the math to it and said, you know what? if I'm just coming into the league and I'm giving myself 10, 15 years in this league and I grow this to $1 billion business and I'm getting 20% instead of the 9 or 7-3 that Jordan is getting, 7-3 for marketing that Jordan gets, I'm up. Now go ask him, is he happy about the deal? Whereas bastardizing because you have full market saturation and you're trying to find an angle in, that's where the rubber fucks up the road. You know, and a lot of these big companies, they'll go do these so-called collabos with the small streetwear guy to get cool points. And but the small streetwear guy is running around going, I work with Nike. No, you don't. They get you fucking 200 shoes to fucking draw on, and they're using you for marketing where you should have got a huge check instead of some, you can't eat rubber. Go get a check.
Is there a quote unquote celebrity out there with a rapper, artist, or any kind of celebrity that you want to do a collab with?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Because that destroyed the market in certain aspects. The celebrity hustling you a brand, it just jumped the shark. So, you know, do you believe Denzel Washington when he says this is the right toothpaste for me? Who the fuck are you? When did you become a dentist?
Probably not.
Exactly. Do you believe Joan Rivers, God bless the dead, because she said this is the way? That shit is over. It is actually over now for the influencer who goes, oh, I'm wearing these. No, TikTok gave you $1,000 for every 10,000 pair you sell for them. That shit, it's up to believe in yourself now. Is that product good for what I need it for? And I think that consumer is the smart consumer now. You know, we're way smarter than we are now. You know, and it's good that we got back there because, you know, with the fast fashion and all the other stuff. I remember, man, we used to go to Macy's 1.5, and I go to the Hugo Boss section, and I'm buying a white button-down shirt. And if I spill coffee on there, I cry to holy hell because that was $80. Now I go to H&M or Primark, same shirt, $8. Throw coffee on it myself, rip the shit off, and before I get upstairs, I got a whole new look. So, you know, now that we care a bit more, I think it's going back to that, the right items as opposed to, you know, when you travel, how many luggages do you carry?
Do you just a carry on?
Because you're a smart person. It's going that way where everything's going to be in one bag that you need that you can put over your shoulders. That's what's good about Thailand. Taught me how to put the backpack on instead of running around with 3 or 4 suitcases. Like, what are you, Gilligan's Island? Or what the fuck are you doing?
So I'm here to February 9th, right? I've already done a lot of stuff in Ho Chi Minh City, right? What's something else I should do here?
From now to February 9th, go to the zoo.
I would to the zoo. Dude, also disappointed. Now, let me rephrase that.
Okay.
The zoo itself is like, my man, this is like this horrible. Now, the botanical gardens,
yeah,
the botanical gardens are beautiful, nice. The zoo, man.
There's improvement for everything, but imagine how many people don't know that exists. You got to bring awareness in order to bring things to light. You dig what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm video walking to the zoo. All these animals have face like, please adopt me.
Yeah.
Please let me get out of here.
I get it, but we also imagine, you know, this is a newer generation, meaning this is they're evolving. Mm-hmm. So they still have some nuances where it's like, man, fuck that zoo. Yeah. Man, what I got to do with me? Mm-hmm. Why that lion care? So you have to bring that awareness, not telling them, oh my God, we got to save the animal. Yeah. Yo, if he need to be fed, volunteer that week. Mm-hmm. You're going to bring awareness to the situation. Like, yo, let's really start taking care of him because now people, you got eyeballs on this. Yeah. You dig? And we have enough with the internet and social media that we can put eyeballs on something in 1 minute. So if I want to be a grown-ass man Karen and go say, yo, look what they doing to the lion. Go do that. Or I could go volunteer my time because maybe they don't have enough people to feed them on a regular basis. You feel me? Mm-hmm. So when I look at stuff like that, I say go to the zoo, go to the museum, because you'll learn about the American side of the war. And then you'll have a whole different reservation.
It's very different perspective.
It changes. Listen, we know what Agent Orange did. I can still see that shit right now. Yeah. In the way the movements. And bad, good, and indifferent, we need to be exposed because I pledged allegiance to the flag of the United States of America from the time I was a tot until they took that out of school. So unlearning that shit, and when I say unlearning, I'm a proud American, 100% red blood. But come on, son, what we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, you can be a proud American, but you have to admit, like sometimes the
We
country,
fuck
yeah,
up.
we just do some horrible
Yeah, we
things.
fuck up, and we should be more. We should be as active as with fixing this fuck up, this particular one. We should be as active with fixing it as we did to break it. You know, so I want to be here. I don't know how I ended up here, you know, through life, but I never felt more at home in any Asian country, and I never wanted to help another group of people grow more than this group because I see where they've been. And like I said, we have more in common as me being a Black American and them being Vietnamese than we have differences. You know, I was on a train, last story though. I was on a train and this was maybe a month or two ago before I got here, right? And I looked on the train and I'm talking about the I live in a box homeless guy. That guy, right? You know who that guy was? That guy was me. That was a Black American male who got squeezed so goddamn hard in America that he didn't know which way to go because he can't find a job over here. You can call it what you want. He was on drugs. Either way, he just went crazy, whatever the fuck. But that was a Black American male, right? Sleeping on a train. So I'm looking at me. But at the same time, I'm looking at all these guys with black shoes on. These are the overnight construction workers, they cops. No, the guys who got to wear work boots. These are the guys who bust they fucking ass overnight for their families. And those guys, black, white, Asian, gray, tall, women, they was everything. You know what they were? They was just tired of dealing with, they were tired of being scared. You did what I'm saying? I looked at it and I saw it because that same Black man who was crazy, I guess, or maybe pretending, maybe real. He jumped up in the middle at 3 o'clock in the morning on the train while everybody trying to go home and start yelling. I don't not carry my weapons. I'm sitting here with two weapons going, I'm gonna have to hurt this man because this man might want to hurt me. And I saw how depressed everybody that was just trying to go home to their family. And I'm not saying it as that was black, that's Black American, West Indian, Asian, white, everybody else was tired. And I took their side of the fence. And when I say I took their side of the fence, I was sad because I saw me. What if I wasn't me? I would be him. And nothing wrong with him is that y'all didn't even give him a chance to be anything. You dig? Y'all didn't give him a chance to be anything. That's what you get. Now, him running around stabbing somebody and killing people on the train and pushing people on the tracks is a byproduct of what you gave him. You gave him nothing. You got nothing. You know how much it took just to not be him? There's more hims than me. I guarantee that. More hims than me. So that was that's something that I was like, yeah, this is what we need to know. We need to know more of
Just up a
this.
little bit.
I'm sorry. We need to know more of this, of be worldly, go to other countries, because you're gonna see stuff that, you know, I wish I got off the block earlier. Like, fuck me being out here for 30 years. I wish I was out here for the whole 50. I wish I was born out here, not Vietnam, but Asia, because by the time I got home, I got depressed. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, I got home and got depressed. I was in Hong Kong and dust till dawn, till dawn. Then I'm back on Church Avenue in Brooklyn. Fuck, what am I doing here?
One thing I wish I could do while I was here, of course, it's impossible, of course. Like, man, I wish where I could stay up 24/7 here, right? Because there's always so much going on,
I
the
figured
stuff
it
going
out.
on. Yeah, you got to tell me a secret.
Okay, everyone, you do agree that you need 8 hours of proper
Yeah.
sleep in order. Who said when you have to do them? Break it into fours. So now for me, right? I'm usually online with a United States at about, say, 9 p.m. till about noon. By noon American time, midnight here is noon there. We're on a 12-hour clock. By the time 12 comes over there, they've spit out their bullshit emails. Or they've sent me enough emails that by the time midnight is over here, I'm 3 beers in, and you don't want to see the reply to that email. So by the time I get home, I go to sleep. I wake up. I might go to sleep 2 in the morning, answer a few more emails, look up some other shit. I wake back up 6 o'clock. And that 6 o'clock is the answer, the responses to what's going on because they're going down and I'm gearing up. By 11 o'clock here, if I don't have to go to a factory, I'm fucking with my own time.
Mm-hmm.
So you can find 4 hours during the night and 4 during the day. You know what I respect the most? And they mean that shit. I could show you some signs. Hey, yo, it's 12 o'clock. We taking a nap. Do not come in the
Oh
door.
yeah, they don't fuck around the naps here.
I love it.
This is a fucking
And it
nap
makes,
culture.
guess what? Go out and work in the hot sun at noon till 2. You'll pass out from
Yeah.
stroke.
Yep.
Instead of sitting down, being efficient, eating your lunch, chill, take a nap, wait till 2:30. It might rain a little bit for 10 minutes. Then you get back up and become efficient. So the efficiency I learned and how to break your day up. Like I said, I'm up every morning with the banh mi lady and the cafe soda lady. She racing me. She up at 4 o'clock. I'm right there. Hey, Miss Parker, I'm up too. Don't even play me. You know what I mean? And I'm up with her because I like watching. When did you get the luxury of laying the fuck down? Get out there and get something. I take my walk with the guys in the morning. We all walk through the neighborhood. I figured it out before the 7 million biker traffic starts running back and forth. Get that good air.
Yeah.
Been the block 3 or 4 times. That's why they 90 years old can still damn near sprint. And we sitting here at 50 years old, and your fucking knees is telling you you're 112. I'm black. In black years, I'm actually 200.
Oh man. So Daniel, is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't, or anything else you want to talk about?
Nah, I think that's about it, man. Like,
Right.
I'm on social media. I'm doing business,
Share your
having fun.
Can you share your social media so people reach out to you?
Let me see. I'm gonna shit my MySpace. Nah, just go
My
on
MySpace,
my MySpace.
Daniel.saw.aol.com.
Underscore hashtag. Nah, I'm on. I usually stay on email and go on LinkedIn and find me. You throw the link on there. Yeah, go on LinkedIn. That's so dope because I've seen it on the TED Talk. If I start going on that Instagram, I let the kids do that now. If I go on there, I'm gonna curse somebody out. So yeah, I go on LinkedIn. You'll find me, Daniel Shaw, Venmerica Group, Soul Alley Group. If you just type it in on Google, you'll find me in one of those mediums. My phone number's there. My address is there. You could pull up on the block if you happen to be in Vietnam. We're starting to do stuff with Pin Soul Academy. You know, those guys that we're gonna teach students how to make shoes and start doing tours with all of the academies and stuff. So that's another 2025 that I would like to do is finish my first tour, bring about a dozen students out here and show them the business of footwear. You know, this is a factory, but they got to be nice at their craft, though.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not just bringing you out here for shits and giggles. Like, here, you got to know you want to do this. You know.
So Daniel, you talk about a lot of great stuff. So before we get out of here, can you give us any advice and wisdom or anything you want to talk about?
Don't ever let anybody tell you can't do something. And I'm using myself as a guinea pig to that because I came from Brownsville, Brooklyn, grew up in the 90s. I live in Vietnam, China, Korea, several other places and countries. And if you asked 100 people, they would have told you that this wasn't supposed to happen. So the journey, the destination is unknown. The journey is fucking dope. And I'm staying on it, rocking it till the wheels fall off. You know, life is good. Life is good.
Daniel, thanks for your time today. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Chad.
This was so much fun.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I appreciate you.
Thank you for listening to the Jason Cavness Experience, Ho Chi Minh City edition. If you're working to unfuck the earth, Earth BC wants to talk to you. Thanks for your time, and remember to be great every day.